Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of So Frail Conversations. Conversaciones. Yeah. Now let me stop playing. And as you seen from the title, today's my brothers, I want to talk about spiritual systems. And the reason why I want to talk about spiritual systems is because I've learned that most men don't have one. Like, as somebody who tapped into his spirituality and, developed my own, rhythm and shit of spiritual systems and shit like that, I realized that most men are really going to follow whatever women do. You know what I mean? I had a conversation with this young lady a while back, and she was like, you don't hear most men talking about like spiritual things like that, about energy balances and shit like that. And it's like, and she was like, and then say it and know what they talking about. I was like, why? She's like, I don't know, you just don't. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever, but I do. And it's like, I had to realize that it's because as men it's taboo. Not in taboo is bad, but it's taboo in the sense that we don't have a need for it, right? We don't have a need for it because we don't believe that we have a need for it. So this is why whoever we fucking, that's what spiritual system we following. Like real shit. Like a lot of people think that it's the other way around. Like a woman's gonna follow a man. Nah, a man is gonna follow. Men are gonna go, especially carnal men. They're gonna go where the women are at, where the women they want are at. So this is why when we look at like certain religious men, it's like, how can you still have infidelity? And because the religion don't really mean shit to us. Like the spiritual system don't really mean shit to us because it's not ours. It is the spiritual system that's one gonna get us some pussy, or two, it is what our woman that we involve in ourselves with. That's what she's choosing to affiliate with. You feel me? It really ain't got shit to do with shit. And it's crazy because like most times when you look at, oh, he got back into church or he went like this, it was always a motherfucker running the streets, a woman coming in trying to save him and fix his life and shit. And then she ends up getting him back in church. And then next thing you know, he's changed his ways and all this other good shit. But it's like, what is the spiritual system that men actually embody? Because there's levels to it. Because when we look at the religions that we follow, this is why I talk about toxic femininity. All of those religions are feminine religions. It's crazy in this strange paradox. They're toxic feminine religions. That's why they build on destruction. But it's like they remove all women from the situation. You feel me? Women have no relevance and shit. Therefore, they speak from the perspective of the feminine essence being gone. But it's really a pseudo illusion in which amplifies the toxic feminine expression. Right. So as men, when we look at our spiritual system, it's like, how do we sustain ourselves spiritually? Because now we have to realize that the moment we step into it, we'll realize how much of the religions and how much of the other shit really fucks with us, and we really never followed. We just accepted based off of 2 points. One, what our mother fucked with, and then two, who we fucking is fucking with. Right. And then who our mother was, like what our mother fucked with, that leads us into the type of women. Like, we don't really fuck with these religions like that. We don't really fuck with most spiritual systems that are not unique to us, that are not designed for us. Now, this is not going to be an episode where I'm telling y'all what spiritual systems to follow, or I'm telling y'all what y'all need to do, but I'm going to break down spirituality from a man's perspective. Every bit of spirituality that we follow is from a woman's perspective. Think about it. When we look at, you know, how we get our cards read, and we do things like, get the stars and, or we go to the Bible, we do, go to the Quran, whatever it is. We do all of these expressions from a perspective that is not uniquely ours. You feel me? There's things that men, because of our predisposition of masculinity, that we don't have to do spiritually, that women have to do spiritually. But if we try to do what women do spiritually, what do we become? I'm not saying we become women, but then we don't tap. I'm not saying that we don't become women, but I'm saying we become feminine in our spiritual practice, because we're not becoming masculine in our spiritual practice. This is why I define masculinity as a spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction. As I've gone through and looked at some of the episodes, I was like, yo, through all of this shit, I have rarely talked about the actual spiritual component. I know in Frail, and I think it's because Soul Frail 3 wasn't done, but in Soul Frail 3, I break down the tree of life, I break down the levels of the mind, I break down so many different allegories and so many different realities that are tied to our spiritual system, but I never actually expressed the spiritual system or what it is to actually use analysis and deconstruction spiritually, right? And we know what it is to use synthesis and construction spiritually, But it's like, what is it? Like, what is it is? What is it to use analysis and deconstruction correctly? You know what I'm saying? From the spiritual component, you know, and that's what I really want to talk about today. And so today is going to be like a plethora of different ideations, but I'm going to show you how they use in a masculine perspective, because that's what a lot of people keep. They're like, so what do you believe in? I don't believe in shit. I understand. They were like, so where do you get your morals from? Me, nigga, the fuck? Like, what do y'all mean? Like, well, don't you got to follow a book or something so you can have? No, I don't. You have to. You got to. And it sucks because as men, what we follow is whatever we fucking. And we don't need to do that anymore. We need to be able to understand how we're supposed to use a spiritual system. I get it. Burning sage is cool. Burning Palo Santo is cool. You know what I'm saying? Smudging and all of those different things are cool. Praying and wearing the cross and all of that other shit. Like, all of the shit we do is just the aesthetic. It's all detail. It's ritual. It's never allegory. That's why I talk about religion as a whole, as a concept, being layered with mythology, ritual, and allegory. They got us at the mythology and we don't really believe the shit. We just fabricate enough to make it look like we know what we're doing. And so we, become prayer warriors. We shout. Think about it in the church mainly, but you know what I'm saying? It's in Islam too, but mainly in the church, what do? We emulate the women. We shout, they shout, we shout. Whatever the women do, we do. You feel me? Because we don't know that our spiritual connection is different from theirs. It's all derived and it's initiated low-key on the same thing, but the derivation is different simply because we have analysis and deconstruction. But before I dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram _just_scene_. Be sure to check out my website at iamjustseen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of your podcast. Not this episode, but the podcast itself. Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And as always, that's that for this and that's this for that. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into So Frail Conversations. What I said I was going to call this shit? Spiritual. When we come back, we're going to dive into So Frail Conversations, spiritual systems. And don't forget to visit iamjustseen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So Frail series to your library? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit iamjustseen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit iamjustseen.com. You ever want to just chat with Scene about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit iamjustseen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at iamjustseen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit iamjustseen.com. All right. Welcome back. And my brothers, we're going to dive straight into it. But I'm on some rabbit hole shit. Y'all know how I do. I always dive down some rabbit holes. But what we're going to do is we're going to start from the beginning and we're going to take it all to the end. And we're going to show how to spiritually use analysis and deconstruction, how to embody it, right? Now, again, let me start off with this for y'all motherfuckers get crazy and shit. And then y'all start talking crazy shit. And then, we got a problem with each other and shit. Oh, we don't need that. This is not to tell you in any way, shape, or form to follow any spiritual system, any religious system, or anything like that. This is to say that our spiritual system is not designed according to how women's is. You feel me? But that is who we're following as far as how we need to run our spiritual system. And because of that, we attain the toxic femininity that makes us lead with destruction rather than creation, because we're automatically shifting to the opposing side of what femininity is, right? But we're not using the harmonious side to femininity, which is analysis and deconstruction, or masculinity. So before y'all know how I rock, right? Before anything could be thoroughly discussed or broken down, we have to give a definition for context and know what the fuck we talking about, right? So before we start off the spiritual system, we got to break down and look at the word spiritual. Spiritual has nothing to do with religious. Spiritual has nothing to do with the church. Spiritual has nothing to do with the temple. Spirit To be spiritual means to be balanced, right? To be balanced. And we know this because of the origins of the word spirit, right? Spirit, if you've ever heard me say it, spirit derives from the Latin word spiritus or in spiritu, right? But whatever it is, spirit creates, and it derives from the origins of the word breath, to breathe, right? So a lot of people look at breath as, of course, the physical, inhale, exhale, and that's the breath. And that's why the breath is the centerpiece. The breathing is the only autonomic function. I ain't gonna say only, because blinking is automatic too, and we can control that. But breathing is one of the most important autonomic or automatic functions that we have in our body that we can consciously control. You feel me? You can control your breath. You can breathe differently. You can breathe into your chest. You can breathe into your diaphragm. There's many things you can do with the breath, but the breath centers you. It can shift you literally. Breathing alone can shift you between the balance of sympathetic and parasympathetic mode. Sympathetic mode is our fight or flight response. Parasympathetic mode is our rest and digest response. Simply by breathing correctly, we can shift that. You feel what I'm saying? A motherfucker who can breathe down into their diaphragm can automatically start putting themselves in rest and digest space. This is why I be talking to homies and shit. And they be like, bro, every time I start meditating and shit and I take my deep breaths, I get sleepy because you're in fight or flight response. So you have now given your body permission to rest and digest. And because you have not rested and digested in so fucking long, you get sleepy instantly. They be like, bruh, I never thought about it like that. And then they go back to what I'm saying, like, yo, how do you have something that you've been holding on to for so long and you ain't thought about it? But again, this ties into our perception of the spirituality, right? As men, we don't have an actual spiritual system. We don't know how to actually use spirituality. So this is why I want to start with the breath, because it's all about balance. We stay imbalanced, right? And we stay in balance. But like I said, because it's the breath, there's deeper levels to it, right? This is why you have to look at a religion, spiritual system, whatever, from the three levels that is mythology, ritual, and allegory, right? At this point, y'all fuck with me heavy, so we're going to do a lot of skipping and go straight ahead to the higher points of the allegory. I ain't got time to be worrying about no mythology and ritual. If y'all ain't caught up by now, then fuck it, y'all ain't gonna catch up, bro. We'll read Soul Pro 3 if you want to catch up, right? So when we observe and we examine the ways in which we construct our spiritual system, like I said, it's about following what either our mother left us with, or whoever we fucking has left us with, or is put into us, right? And when we look at spirituality, spirit denotes the breath. So your spirituality is your association with your breath, with your breathing. But it's deeper than that, because you have the inhale, you have the exhale, you have the inspiration, inspire, you have the expiration, right? Expire does mean death in a way. So when people say, oh, something expired, that means it's past its time, it's beyond its time, or whatever the case may be, or it's dead. So by that default, understanding the allegory and the parallelism to the other side, inspiration would mean live, live, or life, to live. So if to expire means to die, it really don't mean to die, but you feel me? We use it in a conventional sense of death, or something is past its time. That means inspiration means the time is just being started, or it's alive now. Right. So when we find inspiration, that means we are taking in the breath. Right. So the breath, like I said, it denotes balance. You feel me? Whether we're looking at it from a yoga perspective or whatever, but it's about balance. And that's what spirituality is about. It's all about how well you can remain balanced. So much so, one of the spiritual practice that I affiliate with, that I fuck with heavy, is Ma'at. A lot of people say, well, Ma'at is an Egyptian god. No, she's a Kemetic Neteru. She's not an Egyptian god. She's a Kemetic Neteru, right? Netchers, the Neteru, were the Kemetic word for nature. So they're all personifications of your outer experience, the world. So they gave you a personification so you can better understand it as a child. But as you became an adult, you understood what it really was and what association it was, right? So Ma'at represents the basically your transition into death, right? So as you get ready to go, when you face Anubis and everything like that, what do you have to do? According to your heart has to be balanced, and it has to be lighter than a feather, right? Again, another motherfucking allegory. Niggas be thinking, oh, that means I just got to be a good person. No, it means that the balance in your life is net zero. Your darkness is equally as powerful as your light. Nobody wants to deal with that shit. Nobody wants to deal with that part of, oh, I don't want to be positive vibes only. No. When you die, the balance in yourself is going to be how well you have walked the line of light and dark. This is not by any means to say go do some destructive dark shit and then manifest some light shit to balance it. No, this means that you have reached the point of absolution where you were able to find the good in the darkness. You were able to find the bad in the light. You were able to seize everything and remain that balance, right? So according to Ma'at, when you die, what's supposed to happen is your heart has to weigh less than a feather, which means you have to be perfectly balanced in your expression of life. So we follow a religious doctrine, a religious system that teaches us to be good to get into heaven. No, Ma'at teaches you to be balanced, to have your soul absolved of the affliction that you have. And one of the reasons why I'm using Ma'at, because Ma'at, this is going to tie into the conversation heavily, but the only reason why I'm talking about Ma'at, because Ma'at is the only thing that I have found that denotes accountability of self and responsibility of self. Every other religious tenet, and this is why people end up preaching and why a lot of people can't do shit, but they can tell you shit. That's why they can always say, yo, do as I say, not as I do, because they can't do the shit that they saying, simply because they don't understand accountability and responsibility, because they already been programmed to be the motherfucker who's telling other people what to do. Like when I was young, y'all can pretty much gauge it and co-sign and understand what I'm saying. I'm a prophet. It's not a way. There's no way I can hide that shit. There's like I've accepted that shit. The world's over. I'm a prophet. But in the moments when I used to be told I was a prophet, I was told that I'm going to be a prophet for God. You feel me? Again, words spoken, not understood. I am a prophet for God, but not a prophet for the God of the Bible. I'm not a prophet for a religion. And so how they express it is like, you're going to be a prophet for God. You're going to spread the word and you're going to do all of these things. And I'm like, all right, cool. So when we look at what that meant in the religious context, as somebody was prophesying, quote unquote, over me, to telling me that I'm going to be a prophet, I'm like, how are you telling me what I'm going to be? Shouldn't I already know? Or shouldn't the direct message come from me? It's like, why can't you tell you about you? And the reason is because the religious tenet, as opposed to the spiritual tenet, religious is about the control. See, religion is about control. Spirituality is about freedom. Talk about that a little bit as we go deeper. But the religious mentality is about what another motherfucker can't do. How well you can tell a motherfucker that they doing wrong. How you can preach. Spread the gospel, the good word, the good news, or whatever they said, the gospel meant, or some shit. Something I learned back in the day. So when we're looking at it from that perspective, and everything is telling us what you shouldn't do, there's no reason for you to be accountable, because the only accountability is to make sure another motherfucker isn't fucking up. You know you can't do this because the Bible says you shouldn't do this. What are the 10 commandments? And this is why I'm talking about mine, because when we look at the 10 commandments, I don't know what they are in the Quran. You feel me? But there's something similar to it. But either way, the 10 commandments in the Bible, they say, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, but rub me the wrong way, nigga, and I will. Thou shalt not, my bad. I had a young buck moment. Just had to break the tension to keep y'all focused and shit. But they say, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not do a whole bunch of shit, commit adultery, whatever the case may be. But it's always, but if you understand that old English and shit, Nathaniel saying you shouldn't do this shit. So it's imagine it's no accountability, because it's preaching. It's me telling you, yo, you shouldn't do this. Look at the church. Look at the mosque and all this other shit. What do they tell you? They tell you what you need to do to be a better person. While the pastor and whoever, the imam, the bishop, whatever, they talking whatever shit that they're going to talk. Even in the woke community, it's a lot of motherfuckers doing that shit now. You need to be doing this. You need to be doing this. I had caught flack one time. Somebody was a new listener or some shit. And it was like, they DM me and shit. talking crazy. Like, you so arrogant. All you do is talk about yourself in this podcast. You don't tell you like nobody else is here. You don't have any other perspective about anything but yourself and all of this and that third. That's very arrogant. That's very narcissistic and shit like that. I said, because of the position in which I hold and which I stand on, I don't tell you what the fuck you should or shouldn't do. I don't give a fuck about what you should and shouldn't do. I tell you what the fuck I do, what I have done, and what I will do, and how it can be applied to your life if you should fuck with me. And I can show you how I do the shit, because that's what it is for me. When I reach the afterlife, when I get to that point, there's nobody there for me. Now, this is what we always say when it comes to our spiritual system. Everybody like, well, nobody gonna be able to stand there in the day of judgment for you and shit like that. So why is every tenant telling me what I should be worried about another motherfucker for? Every tenant is making sure I'm letting niggas know you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing this. None of these tenants are saying, yo, this is what I have not done. So when I study the tenets of my eye, or whatever, there's 42. 10 of those 42 were plagiarized and placed in the Bible, right? But we're not going to go there. That's a whole different conversation, probably later on in the season. But when we look at what it's really telling us, it says, I have not, let me see, there's one that said, one of my favorite tenets is I have not killed unjustly. As a motherfucker, I ain't never killed nobody, I promise. But I promise if you try me, you'll have to rewind this track. That thing could go right. No, let me stop. I'm in my zone. I'm in my bag. Feel me? Shout out to Weezy. But I've never killed anybody. But one of the wildest realities about myself is that I've contemplated death. Not only suicide, but homicide as well. I've contemplated killing people. On a level that was justified if I would have done it. But a lot of people say shit, oh, nobody deserves to have their life ended or whatever case may be. I don't agree. I'm big on Hammurabi's code and eye for an eye. I'm big on balance. I'm big on all of that shit. So when I read that and it said, I have not killed anybody unjustly, or I have not acted unjustly, to act to the justly part means that what I did was warranted. So it helped me because like there's times I wild out. There's times I spaz out on motherfuckers, and this is why I tell people, the more spiritually solid I become, the less spiritually solid I appear. Motherfuckers be like, yo, you cuss too much. You ain't this. You can't be spiritual. You just stand there. Have you seen my manifestations? Have you seen my spiritual work? Have you seen my alchemy? Never disrespect me, homie. I'm one of the most spiritual motherfuckers you'll ever meet because I'm truly a spiritual motherfucker. I'm not a religious motherfucker. Therefore, I don't have to behave. I get to be. You feel me? I don't know what created y'all. Some people say God. Some people say Allah. I gotta call it the source because the original name for which it was that my people originally knew and called it for. You feel me? I can't call it that. I don't know it anymore. You feel me? So I call it the source because I understand the origins and shit. But I can't fathom that I have to behave around the source who watches me all the time. You feel me? That's one of the realities of our spiritual system that fucks us up. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get to us as men, for the whole, but I gotta, keep it general for a second. You feel me? We come to a perspective of not being able to embrace our darkness because we try so hard to behave. I used to be this motherfucker. Back when I was religious and shit, when I used to pray, nigga, I ain't pray like I acted the other 24 hours of the day. I mean, the other 23 hours of the day. I ain't ever prayed for no hour. Let me not be dramatic like that. But like, I would wake up in the morning, get straight to praying, and start begging. If you don't beg, that's on you. But I'm just speaking on how I view praying and how I was taught to pray. It's like, ask God for this, that, and the third, and this, that, and the third. It's like I was always coming down asking this shit. You feel me? If we look at the movie Friday, when Felicia came around, Smokey's like, here come her begging ass. And all she did was ask for a VCR. She asked for a ride. She asked for some ketchup. No, she didn't ask for no ketchup. Smokey said you should have asked for some ketchup because that's what most people want to borrow. Anyway, but she was asking. You feel me? And then when you pray, you were like, Father, just take the burden away. Or Father, I need you to do this. You're begging. You're begging. And, I've learned that a part of that really comes from the lack of understanding of the actual system we're supposed to be involved ourselves with, right? Because when you then look at how we're coming to this being or this deity or whatever, and we're nothing like we are on the regular 6 days. It's like what 168 hours in a week, right? So let's say I did pray an hour, right? That means out of those, that means 161 hours I'm being the heathen. I'm fucking, I'm smoking, drinking. You feel me? I'm doing all of the other shit. Everybody say, "Oh, they drunk in the Bible. They drunk kosher wine or whatever the case may be." Everybody uses their religion to justify their bullshit. Nobody wants to have accountability for what the fuck they do. So it's like, well, you will find something. If you do some fucked up shit, you'll find. And if you can't find it in the religion, what you gonna say is, well, I'm still a work in progress. They ain't done with me yet, right? Because it's not about what I should not be doing. It's about how well I can tell you that you shouldn't be doing shit. You feel me? Weird shit. Weird shit, but I get it. I get it. So when I'm piecing these things together and I'm looking at how my eye is saying one thing, then I'm looking at all of the other shit, and it's like I looked at my life. And then I looked at the verses like, yo, come as you are. Everybody thought, oh, the Bible say come as you are. That means you go to church or whatever. It never said go to church. First off, even if it was talking about church, it also said the church is within. So when it says go within, go to church, and then come as you are. Go within as your authentic self. I was talking to one. Matter of fact, I got a podcast episode up here. It's on command prayer, the power to command the elements or whatever the case may be. So when you praying, the fuck you asking for? You don't ask, you command. You feel me? Now you command with compensation. Don't get me wrong; it's a law of compensation. You have to give in order to receive. You feel me? But you can command, and you should command, and you do command. But the thing about it is, I had to break that mentality of going into the space and saying, "I'm your humble servant. Forgive me for all of the wrong I've done." Then I'm about to go do again after I wake up, after I open my eyes, and hop to it and go see some ass. But forgive me for all of the wrong that I've done. I'm trying. I need to get right. I'm sorry. I don't want it to be in. And, I just need you to get me through this day. I need you. Blah, blah, blah. All the shit that motherfuckers say when they pray. You feel me? All the shit that motherfuckers say when they pray. I ain't mad at it. You feel me? I ain't mad at it. Do your thing. But I had to reach a point, that I realized that my spiritual system means that I have to be me. And I will always wonder, like, why didn't things that I used to hear all the time, prayer works, prayer didn't work for me. I'm not going to shit on anybody else and say prayer don't work for them either. Because I've seen people pray and then shit struggled and shit and they didn't get it. You feel me? And they're like, oh, well, it just wasn't meant for me. But I thought you prayed and I thought you had favor. What you mean it ain't work? But that's beside the fact. The reality is why it doesn't work is because in order for your manifestation to come into you real time, you have to be in the space that you are in when you ask for it. I'm always going to be like this. I'm always going to be the profound motherfucker. I'm always going to be like that. I can't ask my ancestors. I can't ask my guides. I can't ask God, Yalla, Jehovah, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, whoever it is. I can't ask none of these beings for something, and I'm not in the space that I'm already going to be regularly be in when I ask for it. Do I cuss them out? Do I spaz on them? No. They'll be like, yo, bitch ass nigga, yo, give me my shit. No, that's not what I'm saying when I say command. But when I say, hey, look, this is what it is. This is what I need you to do for me. Instant reverberation. This is what I need you to do. In order for us to work for you, you need to work for us. So when I used to, my old religious system was about, okay, I'm going to pray and then I'm going to wait. I remember one time, bro, I took a test. I failed the fuck out of this test. I ain't study. I ain't even look at the material. I prayed about it. I get it, motherfucking. Well, faith without works is dead. But you told me prayer works. It can't be both. If prayer works and faith without works is dead, then why pray? Why have faith? Just do the work. That's the reality of it. And then you hear motherfuckers say God helps those who helps themselves. So if you're already helping yourself, then you're not the God. See where I'm gonna go with this. This is gonna be a deep rabbit hole. But as we set these realities up, you feel me? I was praying. I did not study for this test. Whatsoever. I went back to my room and prayed. I said, Father, just give me all of the insight and all of the information I need to pass this test. Whatever I don't know, fill in the gaps. Help me to get to the point that I need. I said, I need you. I'm doing it. In Jesus' name, amen. I go take the test and fail the fuck out that shit. and I'm hurt. I'm mad at first. You know what I'm saying? I'm just sitting there contemplating. You feel me? At this point, I didn't have higher lower self shit. You know what I'm saying? The understanding of when my higher self was speaking to me, when my lower self was taking control, I didn't have this concept. So there's things I'm like, oh, this is the devil or this guy. This like, nah, the devil just didn't want me to win. No, nigga, you didn't study. You went to class. You texted during class. You didn't really pay attention like you were supposed to. You didn't do what you're supposed to do for this module. Devil won't busy. If the devil was busy, you hired him. You were the devil that was busy because what were you doing when you were supposed to be learning this material? What were you doing when you were supposed to be reviewing this material? Nothing. And that's what you got for it. So it goes back into commanding the ancestors, or commanding the gods, or commanding the source, or whatever it is. When you say, hey, look, this is what I need you to do, it's like, oh, this is what we need you to do. For me to get an A on that test, I had to pay attention to class and I had to study. 2 things I didn't do, but I prayed. There's a lot of people right now that are praying for shit, but they're not doing the work. So this is why I say, if prayer works and faith without works is dead, and if you do the work, you don't need to pray or have faith. So then when people look at me crazy and they'll be like, yo, faith and fear is the same thing, and then you have belief not, I'm like, I don't fuck with belief no more. I don't even fuck with faith or fear anymore. I don't have faith in shit. I either understand something. It's like I get to the point of acceptance or rejection because of understanding, but that ties into this episode because it is developed off of my spiritual system. Because as men, our spiritual systems are different. I was following the spiritual system of my mother. I was following the spiritual system of women. Yeah, you always hear things like some of us are alive because of the prayers of our grandmothers, right? Or some of us were saved by shit because our grandmothers prayed. Why? Why did prayer work for when women spoke it? No funny shit. Prayer don't work when men speak. It only works when women speak. Why? Because men are meditators. Prayer is an extension of construction and synthesis. Meditation is an extension of analysis and deconstruction. This is the first point that we're going to when we address spiritual systems for men. Men don't pray. I mean, men don't. I'm not saying don't pray, because there's a lesson in still praying, or whatever the case may be. You got to know how to speak. People pray, but they don't speak into the universe. They pray as something that they're not. To speak means that you put the intention that you are every day. Who are you every day? If you know, whatever deity is still working on you, then you're not even worthy enough to even pray to get anything. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, there's certain shit that we have to really address if we're really going to be serious about this shit. You feel what I'm saying? So as I prayed, you know, I failed the test and shit or whatever. I don't know how it worked out, but you feel me? It was a matter of we can like replay it, or we can get like half off or some shit, half of the points if we, you know. So I went back and I studied, and I was like, I didn't know this material. What gaps were going to be filled because I prayed? You feel me? And that's when we step into a realm of, you know, I often say people who are heavily religious, they have a very, very hard time separating reality from fantasy. It's not just me shitting on religious people. There was a time when I had a hard time separating reality from fantasy. Part of that was a reality. Like, as long as I pray and as long as I just do this and do the bare minimum, God will feel the worst thing because I got favor, and favor ain't fair. You're right. Favor ain't fair. Favor ain't fair off either side, because favor is bestowed on the people who do things that invoke favor. You feel me? You don't get blessings. You're not rewarded with blessings. You earn blessings. Blessings are bestowed upon you for the work that you do. Motherfuckers be like, yo, I don't even know how this happened. And that's a problem, because when so many people don't know how certain things work in their life, they give the good shit to a deity. Well, it's all going to go to a deity, but the good shit is going to go to a positive deity. The bad shit is going to go to the devil. Somehow, we have all these different religions. We have multiple gods, but one devil. It's crazy. It's crazy. Everybody has the same devil. It's weird. Like, y'all don't find anything. Y'all don't find that suspicious. Shout out to Dr. Umar. But considering how all of that still ties in and connects, it is largely due to the fact that as men, we don't address our spiritual system the way we're supposed to. We address it the way, one, the women that we involve, the women that we come from, or the woman that we going into. That's who predicates our spiritual system when it's supposed to be us. But our spiritual system is derived differently. With that being said, Most spiritual systems, most women's spiritual, the women's connection is more external. Ours is internal because meditation is on the inside. Praying goes on the outside. You're speaking to invoke. A lot of people don't know how to speak. They just know how to talk, run their fucking mouths. Feel me? But meditation is about analyzing and deconstruction, right? So you're supposed to take the thought that's broken down. You're supposed to take the thought that's in your head, break it down. That's spiritual analysis and deconstruction. Meditation is a very, very quintessential piece as men to have in your arsenal. Whether you meditating 5 times a day, whether you meditating for 5 minutes, if you are not meditating, even the good book says meditate on the word day and night. What's the word? What's the word? That's another piece that motherfuckers don't get with. Everybody thinks it's just constantly rereading the Bible. No, meditating on the word, the individual word is God. In the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. But in John 1:1, it says, in the beginning, God was the word was God, and the word was with God. What was the word? When you do the transliterations, you see that the word is Yahweh, Jehovah, YHVH, the 4 elements, air, fire, water, and earth. You have to meditate on those 4 elements and how they maneuver through the earth, through the world. So you can understand every aspect, because every aspect of the reality that you're dealing with is tied to one of these energies. You have earth energy, water energy, fire energy, air energy. I'm not going to get into the other 7 just yet. I mean, the other 3 just yet. For the 7, that makes the 7 chakras, which are 7 seals they got to break, because it's a long road we got to walk down real quick. But we're getting into the meditation part of it, because tying it to spirit, meditation is the first way in which we reach balance spiritually. So we know that spirit means the breath. We know that the allegory of breath means balance, inspire, expire. When we meditate, we are centering all of that. That is the centering point, right? So our spiritual system has to be predicated on meditation. The foundation is meditation. There's no different than when we look at a religion, when we look at those, like that foundation is predicated on prayer. It's like you pray. These 2 things have to go hand in hand. You pray to send the message up. You meditate to bring it back down. And consciousness is where meditation and prayer collide. That's when you become conscious of something. So when I tell people, when you speak, you have to speak with the authority, and you have to speak as yourself. A lot of people have to get to that point. I had to get to that point to where the way I talk here, the way I talk in real life, the way I talk to my guys, the way I talk to the source, I talk the same way. I no longer behave because I don't have to. Spirituality doesn't allow me to behave. It allows me to be. And whatever way gives me the balance for the day to keep me in harmony with what I need to do for myself, that is what spirituality is. That is what spirituality is. And for my brothers, we're following indoctrinations that make us practice spirituality from a feminine perspective. Think about, even when you look at the spiritual systems that show us from our ancestors, you know, the Voodoo, you feel me, the Yoruba, the Hoodoo, Santeria, let me say it right. What do we see when we're watching these practices done? We see women. You don't see men in the circles of those. Why? Why don't you? It's not that we don't practice the shit. It's not that we're not supposed to practice it, because there's no way that we can have women expressing it from this way, but we still have male deities. You have the Shangos, the Oguns. You feel what I'm saying? The Papa Legbas. You have, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Y'all can do y'all research. But you have different male deities too. Right? And then when we look at the male deities, why are we not expressing that masculine side to them? Because everything is based off of the woman's side. Right? So this is why when I tell motherfuckers masculinity is not in the world, I'm not just saying that for shits and giggles. I know. I know, because what spiritual practice is led by men that is manly? And by manly, I'm using it manly for real this time, because it's like we have to look at it from the masculine perspective of what is it that men are currently operating on, because all of these men do the same shit. Look at it how it is in the church. Look at how it is in the church, right? And I'm gonna show you even from the Quran too, from the Islamic perspective, how it's still feminine too, because it's about submission, right? So Look at the church. When a man, quote unquote, catches the Holy Spirit, he does the same thing a woman does. He shouts, he dances, he moves. Look at every spiritual system that black people are involved in, whether it be a religion or like who is dancing? Women. Men are doing things differently that we don't really see because they don't really show those counterparts a lot. You have to go deep in to find them. I was watching one documentary, and I was studying a little something on Vodun, and one of the men was sitting in fire. Didn't catch on fire. Shit blew my mind. I was like, damn, that's a different level of attunement, bro. He not even scared. Like, he commanded that peace. And it's like, what was it that allowed him to sit in fire? I'm not trying it. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. This is not me saying that I've reached a spiritual level. I'm willing to sit in fire. Ain't there yet. I ain't there yet. I don't have a guide. I don't have a guide to get me there yet. You feel me? So I'm not saying that but I have manipulated the universe in ways that I can't explain, that I couldn't explain. Let me say that. I manipulated the universe in ways that I couldn't explain, but then I started to learn that I was manipulating them. Then it made me more intentional with my alchemy, right? So, and I'm going to get into the different practices of study that, once you learn how to use them, you'll see why they're masculine, right? So I was watching and it was just like, yo, he's not dancing. He's not like, for when men do it, when women are in their spiritual practice, it's fluidity. It's water. I've noticed that when men do it, it's more static. You know what I'm saying? It's rigid. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of stillness. It's not a lot of movement. You feel what I'm saying? So when my bad, I had to text. So it's more rigid. You know what I'm saying? But they don't show it. They never show men actually do anything. But what we do see is the men emulating women in the practices, right? So like I said, even men praying 5 times a day, there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with that. That is what, the culture designs. But prayer is feminine. So when you have to bow and pray 5 times a day to a male deity, what is that saying? What is that saying to you and who you are? But anyway, I digress. I don't want to get too heavy into it because I can't get too heavy into that because it's going to deviate from where we are right here. So these are the things that connect with who we are on the inside and who we're not on the inside. So our spiritual practices aren't listed for men because we just follow what women do until we start to see men actually have practices. Like, what are the things and what are the rituals and what are the rites that men do? A lot of it is stripped. A lot of it's taken away because a lot of it was removed in the culture because all they're going to show you is what the women did. Because the women shit isn't active. Because now when we look at Haiti, people fear Haiti. White people fear Haiti. That's who really fears Haiti. And they made black people fear Haiti because black people fear voodoo because a lot of them Haitians is crazy because they practice voodoo and all this other shit. And I realized, like, it was a specific type of voodoo that they were afraid of. When we look at because the documentation is gone, but look it up. It's not really gone. You have to dig deep to find it. Napoleon's army had 37,000 troops in it. They don't tell this story. They tell how great Napoleon was and how Napoleon was a great conqueror. He did this and the third. They talk about his little stint with Haiti, but they kind of leave over how Haiti won. Haiti ain't had no guns. I don't even know if they had machetes and knives or whatever the case may be. But some of the historical records of the people that made it away, they reduced Napoleon's army with 1,000 people. With 1,000 people only. They reduced Napoleon's army from 37,000 to 3,000. And of the 3,000 that survived, some of them wrote records of what they saw. They said there were bodies that weren't real bodies that were attacking us. They said we saw things raised from the ground and form into a human body. And we could shoot it, but it wouldn't fall. But it could physically impale us. Those were the records that they were saying. So I'm like, damn, that's why they fear Haiti. Because Haiti's voodoo was it was powerful enough to take him out. Now, I get it. A lot of people, well, that's magic, that's witchcraft, that's what it is. But when you think about the God of your enemy being your devil, what is it really for you? You feel me? So Haitians have been independent since then. Nobody fucks with Haiti. Not on no physical shit. Nobody fucks with Haiti. So it's like, what was happening in Haiti? You feel me? And what was happening with their spiritual system? It was another one too. I think his last name was Overture. But it was one of the uprisings. Matter of fact, I think this is the same uprising that happened. Something, I think it's Denmark Desalegn. I think that's who it was. He told him, he said, yo, get a white man back as God, you are free. Those were his last words before they went to war. And they reduced Napoleon's army from 37,000 to 3,000. And they had to retreat. Those 3,000 people retreated. That's how Haiti got their independence. And we're not fucking with y'all, but we're going to fuck with y'all indirectly because we ain't coming on that land no more. That's how the Eiffel Tower shit, the Eiffel Tower got built. It was, they drained it from the resources of Haiti, whatever. They said, we not fighting y'all. We can't fight y'all no more. So when we talk about voodoo and Vodun, it's like, what part of that spiritual system is what? So how we try to practice it now is we try to practice it from the perspective of the feminine, not the masculine. It was the masculine that was able to erect those bodies out of the dirt and force them out because it's action. The feminine is about life. Synthesis and construction. It's about analysis and deconstruction. It's about death too. It's about bringing death. You feel me? And it's about not only that, it's about action. Femininity is passive. That's why women can pray. So now when you simultaneously have women praying and men acting, shit works together. But we have everybody doing the same thing. Our women will pray and our men will go on the streets and say, hands up, don't shoot. It don't work. The spiritual practice doesn't teach you to fight. It teaches you not to, right? So now when we look at our spiritual practices as men, what is it that we're lacking? What is it that we're missing that we can't tap into anymore to where we can invoke this shit? We can't evoke the Oguns. We can't evoke the Shangos. But we're supposed to know how to use these. You know what I'm saying? So all you hear littered over the internet is Oshun, Yemaya. Like, there's nothing wrong with those. I fucks with them. I fucks with them heavy. You feel me? Even my aunt. Like, my aunt is like, okay, bam, how did I end up getting into a feminine one? It's like, yo, I had to learn how to use it because Anubis is a vital piece of their balance. People don't pay attention to that. Anubis takes you to Ma'at. Anubis is the one who puts your heart on the scale. So it's a thing about Anubis that you have to understand. Ma'at is the balance. Ma'at is how you. Ma'at is really is wisdom in a way too. But Ma'at is how you balance this, right? Anubis is. I didn't want to talk about deities like that. Anubis is the quote unquote the god of the underworld or whatever the case may be. But when we look at the deity, it's the highest form of the mind, right? Highest conceptualization of the mind in relation to the underworld, which is in relation to the darkness, right? In order for your heart to be weighed against and to have the feather, that means Ma'at has to be the light. Anubis and Ma'at have to come together for the final piece of the underworld, of the afterlife. Darkness and light have to come together, and their symbolism is that your heart, when paired between Anubis and Ma'at, light and darkness, your heart has to weigh less than a feather. It has to be lighter than a feather. Right? So as men, our spirituality does not have masculine energy in it yet. So we practice the spiritual systems of women. There's nothing wrong with it, but we're doing it from a feminine lens. We're doing the same, and we're like, how can we not? Like, how come you always hear, motherfuckers are alive because of their grandmother's prayers, but how come no motherfuckers are sustained because of their grandfather's meditations? Because grandfathers weren't meditating, they were praying. They were praying too. And again, there's nothing wrong with praying because it's speaking. But when you have a predisposition to lead with, you're supposed to lead a certain way. Women's predisposition is to lead, so that's why they pray. But they don't realize that even them is limited because, again, they're not praying for real to command the audience, to command it from the perspective of who they're not coming as they are. You feel me? And men, we definitely can't come as we are because we supposed to lead with the masculine. And we just totally different now. You feel me? So it's like when we look at how a lot of the shit that we're exposed to, even if we want to go into astrology, we want to go into numerology, we want to go into tarot, we still have to be able to invoke it from the masculine perspective. You can lay out all the cards you want to, you can read them, but if you're doing it from the feminine energy, you're not going to get what you're supposed to get out of it. You have to do it from the masculine energy, which is analysis and deconstruction. It's a different reality. If you ever watched a tarot reading on YouTube or some shit, the men even read cards the way women do. They tell you what you feel. They tell you what they feel. Oh, so what I'm getting is spirits telling me this is that and this is that. It's like, nah, men is expression of. When you read your tarot, if you do your cards and shit, first off, the tarot, the 22 major arcana are all the 22 paths of the tree of life. I'm gonna get into that shit too, because there's levels that you get higher to when you start to see all the other shit, right? But there's levels. There's levels. So when you're reading your tarot, it is not about what you feel, it is about what you think. When you're breaking it as a man, this is masculine energy. As astrology, it's not about what you feel, it's about what you think. As esoteric magic, I'll break that down a little bit too. It's not about what you feel, it's about what you think. You feel me? Women are intuitive. Men are intelligent. A lot of people think when I say that, oh, you're calling women stupid. No, stupid. I'm not calling women stupid. I'm saying that women have a predisposition. This is why their women's intuition is what it is. This is also why in those times back in the day, they love to talk about it. Women were oracles. But by the same proxy, this is why men are prophets. The prophetess is a joke. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But a prophetess doesn't have the same capacity as a prophet. Just like a male oracle. I don't know what they would call a male oracle. But the male oracle does not have the same capacity as a woman oracle. Or the man oracle, the female. Y'all know where I'm going with this. They don't have the same capacity as that oracle. Because that's not naturally their predisposition. Because to be an oracle means you have to have intuition. But to be a prophet, you have to have intelligence. Because a prophet and an oracle derive from the same energy. However, one is based off of thought, one is based off of feeling. Prophets can't feel to be prophetic. A prophetic vision is not what you feel, it's what you think. You feel me? They call them visions, but it's what you think. Now, an oracle, she delivers a message, right? Based off of what she feels, her intuition. But men, it's like, so now when I say they emasculate us, it's our ability to analyze and deconstruct the world. We can't even think. Because largely we still need the right side of our brain, which is our creative side. Shit shut all the way down. But we need that in order to think a certain way to get a certain reality. So a lot of people tell me shit like they be like, yo, everything you spoke. And this goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. Like I had a person tell me, yo, you're going to be a prophet for the Lord. And I didn't know it. I was like, all right, whatever. So I'm thinking I'm just going to be a person that's out repeating and reciting the Bible. Nah, I'm a different type of prophet. I realized when I tapped into myself what kind of prophet I was. And a prophet is simply one who can analyze the past, break down the present, and can predict the future. It's not many things I've been wrong about. And there was a time when I couldn't accept that because I'm thinking, oh, I feel, or no. Oh, this just came to me. I had to accept it. I knew how to bring this into my reality. I knew how to take this out of the ethers. We're going to talk about the ethers and shit too. But I knew how to take this out of the ethers and create, right? Because I had to learn that the spiritual system for the man is different from the spiritual system of the woman. This is why I define masculinity as spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis of deconstruction. But this is also why in Frail 3, I took the gloves off and I showed you what it was. I broke down the 12 laws of the universe. I broke down the chakras and shit. I talked about it, but I didn't go as in detail as I did in Frail 3. So for three, I also talked about the mind, because these are all things. See, with women and their spiritual system, it's about the heart. With men, it's about the mind. You ever notice how when a breakup happens, right? When a breakup happens, a man loses his mind, but a woman loses her heart. We be thinking that a man loses his heart, he's heartbroken too. Yeah, the same pain hurts, you feel it in your heart or whatever the case may be. But his mind is what's affected. A woman's heart is what's affected, because the heart is what guides her intuition, but the mind is what guides the intelligence. You dig what I mean? So when a man loses his mind after a bad breakup or whatever the case may be, or it's like he's in a state of delusion. You feel me? And his spirituality has to be aligning him back. Here's why it's a problem, because our spiritual tenets based off of the religion doesn't teach us to use it masculinely. So we don't know how to fix our mind in our healing. We're trying to fix our heart. We stopped feeling about the heartbreak a long time ago, but we never stopped thinking about it. It is the thinking that helps us get over. It's the thinking. We have to heal our mind because of what it did to our mind. Heartbreaks do shit to women's hearts. Heartbreaks do shit to men's minds. So it's a mind break. Your mental is fucked up. You feel me? It feels the same. Don't get me wrong, because when a woman is in love with a man, she feels for him. When a man is in love with a woman, he thinks for her. Not in the sense of controlling. I mean, in the capacity of feeling for somebody, having deep feelings. He has deep thoughts about this woman. His thoughts are in comparison to what a woman's feelings would be. You feel what I'm saying? So how do we approach that? That's one of the quandaries, because that's where our spiritual system comes in. Because what is our spiritual system teaching us? Is it teaching us how to analyze and deconstruct, or synthesize and construct? And when it's synthesize and construct, we're praying for it to get it. Like men, it's our responsibility to solve the problems in our heads, in our hearts, or whatever, however we're going to look at it. But how do we do that? We can't do it with prayer. We have to sort shit out with meditation. And it's a little bit different for us because, like I said, analysis and deconstruction is what helps heal. Analysis and deconstruction is what heals the mind. Synthesis and construction is what heals the heart. If you read So Frail 3, when I get to the tree of life and I start breaking it down, you'll see how the dynamics play out. And it's all written there for that reason. So I was talking to one of my homies and shit, and we got to talking about numbers and shit. He was like, yo, bro, don't you got an episode on, like, a lot of people, this is one of the reasons why, if you look at social media and the conscious community and the spiritual advisor and shit, what are they always fucking with? Tarot. Or tarot, however you want to call the shit. Potato, tomato. Yeah, I said tomato. And what, motherfucker? But anyway, it's always, women are always talking about either astrology or tarot. Right? And with the astrology that they're talking about is limited. They only talk about what they feel. It's all of the feeling side of astrology. Astrology is dual in nature. I fucks with it heavy. Tarot is usually about feeling and shit. Astrology is more has both balance and masculine nature. But the purpose of what I mentioned with that is that you have people leading with tarot. All of those spiritual motherfuckers, and most of them are women, they're doing tarot. Why? Because tarot is about feeling. Tarot is about feeling. You read the cards based off of what the interpretation is. You feel me? That's not the same with astrology, and that's not the same with numerology. Numerology is masculine. You don't see many women dealing with numerology because you can't feel it. You can't synthesize and construct numerology. You analyze and break it down. You analyze and deconstruct it. So the reason why I'm saying this, because one of my homies was like, yo, bro, he said, man, how you be looking? Numbers can be used intuitively. They have to be used in tech. It's like, come on, bro. Like, do I really have to finish that sentence? Numbers cannot be used intuitively. They have to be used intelligently. You dig what I'm saying? The stars and the stars can be used intelligently too, but largely the stars are used intuitively. The cards are used intuitively. Many women, when you start telling them, I was never good at math, I'm not, You ain't gotta add shit. The fuck? And if you do, it's all nine. Isn't the first nine numbers? It's only nine. You feel me? And then you tie it to the letters of the alphabet and you make it codified, whatever the case may be. But the numbers are in our spiritual system, our predisposition of our spiritual system. And the religion even alludes to it, but it doesn't. Like, why do you think so many numbers are important in religion? The number 12, the number 3. Mainly the religion is they usually talk about 12s and 3s, but they have specific numbers that they run through that they use. Armies of 300, certain numbers or whatever. Like, it's certain numbers that had to be used. Perfect example, I want to say it was when King David is about to go in the Bible. He about to go to war, and he asking God and shit. You feel me? I'm gonna break. I already broke down what God is. Y'all know what's up. So he's asking God and shit, like, how many men should I take to war? He said, don't take that many. He said, take them all down to the lake and see who drinks, who kneels to drink, or who puts their face in the water, or some shit like that. He said, all those who kneel to drink or some shit like that, those who you're gonna take to war, everybody else sent back home. There was only 300 men left. The number 3 was very important. That's all you need. Like, that's all you need. Our spiritual component is about definitiveness. One of the reasons why we fuck up as men, and one of the reasons why we fucked up as men on our spiritual side, because we don't have any definity. Because what we're trying to do is be intuitive. Get in touch with your feminine side. Feel, do all this other shit. Cool, do it. I'm not against it. I'm not opposed to it. But at the same time, you can't lead with that. Our spiritual systems need to be led with intelligence, not intuition. Because we don't feel first. We think first. Women feel before they think. Men think before they feel. So why would we start off our spiritual system with feeling? You shouldn't. But there's ways in which you have to understand your spiritual system. You feel me? All of this shit is derived on how well you're going to get to your balance. And the reason why I'm using numerology, I'm not saying let numerology be your spiritual system. Y'all know, I pretty much know everything about every religious section, spiritual system, and everything. I know a little bit about everything because I know how to use it intelligently now. Not intuitively. I can't use it intuitively. I tried it because when I first got into the woke shit, I was dealing with women and it's like, yo, teach me this. And it's like, yo, because, I feel this, that, and the third. And it's like, I couldn't connect the way they did until I started studying from a masculine perspective. My manifestations happen like, you feel me? When I tell people certain shit, like when I tell people, yo, the months of March and the months of August will always be powerful months for me. I will do phenomenal shit in those months, depending on whether I'm in tune with what I'm doing or not. Simply because when I break down my numerology, right, from the number standpoint, and I break it down from the Pythagorean and the Chaldean, but the Chaldean is a lot more specific. There's a book called Numbers in You by Lloyd Strayhorn, I think that's his name. Very powerful book. I recommend reading it. I recommend looking into it if you want to understand numerology. You don't necessarily need numerology. I understand every esoteric science to where I'm like, all right, I know which one works for me. You feel me? I don't know which one can keep me in alignment with my eye to where I'm in balance. So I dabble in all of them. I use tarot. I use numerology. I use astrology. I use esoteric magic. Esoteric magic is my favorite. I'm not even gonna lie to you because that's all done in the mind. When we look at, and now this segues into my next point because now I'm talking about esoteric magic. Another piece of that, because ours is about analysis and deconstruction and women's about synthesis and construction. This is why women shit and there's, prayer and ours is meditation and shit like that. But when we look at the external side, women are more external in their devotion. Men have to be more internal. This is why, okay, it's meditation and shit, right? But deeper than that, what we tie it to is that you hear a lot of women, oh, you got to set up an altar. Men don't have altars. Our altars are in our head. Because when you understand the principle, you don't need the details to decorate to lead it there. You dig what I'm saying? Follow me on that. When you look at a woman's altar, the individual altar she has for herself, she has the 4 elements: earth, water, why am I fucking tongue tied? Earth, water, fire, and air, right? In some way, shape, or form, she has those on her altar. You feel me? And then you light the candle. The lighting candle is the merging of all four elements. You feel me? The earth, the candle wax is a kind of a combination representation of the earth and the water. You feel me? The wait. No, I'm saying that wrong. No, the candle itself, I want to say, is a form of the water, and the wick is the earth. The fire, of course, is when you light it, but the air is all around keeping the fire lit. You feel me? It's levels to it. Some women put skulls on their shit. Some women put dirt. You know what I'm saying? Different ways. Like I've done a manifestation one time. One of my homegirls put me on this before I got heavy into it. She was like, "Look, go to the gas station, get some gas station dirt, and put it in a Ziploc bag, and drive home a different way than you came." I was like, "All right, cool." I did the shit. It was a solid manifestation. I ain't gonna hold you, like, because money comes into a gas station all the time. So now this is where your intention comes in, because now you have to I didn't go grab the dirt just because I got some dirt. She was like, set the intention. Now I'm intentionally setting myself up to always receive money. Since that moment, I don't think I've stopped making money. I still got the dirt, but I don't think I've ever stopped making money. I'm not telling you to go do this because this is shit that you have to understand on a deeper level that we're going to get into. But I'm telling you the power of what it can be, because she's explaining it she's telling me to do it from the intuitive side. When I learned how to do it from the intelligent side, it changed the dynamic. Hey, bro, for real though, at some point we got to stop talking to women about masculinity and start talking to each other about it. And I mean really talk to each other. Not as enablers and co-signers, but as men trying to reach the pinnacle of our essence. And that's what the So Frail series does. So Frail 1 is the definition. So Frail 2 is the acknowledgement. And So Frail 3 is the resolution. If you rock with the So Frail conversations, I can guarantee you will rock with the So Frail series of books. So visit IamJustSaying.com right now so you can add the series to your library. I promise you will never look at masculinity the same again, and you're going to stop wasting your time arguing with women about it. This is a conversation that men need to have between men, and it's time we start having this conversation now. And it changed the dynamic largely because our altars as men are inside of our heads. They don't have to be external to us. That's something that I had to learn within my spiritual practice. I don't have an altar now. I started off using it, but I had to learn. I was like, I don't need an altar. We don't need altars because we tap into the intelligent side. We tap into the analysis and deconstruction, right? Because women tap into the details. They need an analysis and deconstruction. That's why they have the dirt and they have the ashes and they have the certain things that represent the principle of that element. So they're not too confused by the details and they're able to bring their manifestations in. Men, we just have to sort out all of the details in our head and find the principle, right? So this is why I'm saying I got into esoteric magic, and it ends with a K, not a C. But esoteric magic is, first off, for motherfuckers get spooky, esoteric magic is Hebrew. It was created by the Hebrews. The Hebrews. The very motherfuckers who they say wrote the Bible. The very motherfuckers, and this is why the Holy Bible is called the Holy Bible, because it's the book of the sun. The sun book. Hebrews codify esoteric magic, numerology, and astrology, and tarot all in the Bible. It's codified there, and it's written as a mythology, and you have to get to the allegory to see how all four of these things play out. But now you have to go all the way back, because you're in the English language. Now you have to go back to the Latin, see what the Latin meant, go back to the Greek, then go back to Hebrew, and see what the fuck happened. Because even if you read the Bible, what does it say? Moses was learned in the ways of the Egyptians, and the Egyptians who taught Moses. So I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I'm letting you know esoteric magic is a Hebrew science. And it's a real science. It is about manifesting from the mind. Women manifest externally, men manifest internally. So when I hear dudes say, I'm a manifest, and they talk about you can't do what women do to manifest your shit. Our shit is internal, because what we have to do is sit with it and create the manifestation in our head intelligently. No bullshit. I lie to you not. When you meditate and your focus is to create a manifestation, and you're creating the symbolisms, and you're getting down to the root, and you're getting intelligently and analyzing and deconstruction to create the manifestation, what you need will come to you. What you need for that manifestation to work will intelligently come to you when you break it down. Analysis and deconstruction. I do this. A lot of people think, yo, how did you make the right decision at the right time? I can't tell you how fast I do it. I'm telling y'all now, but it's like I can't tell you why I do it so fast and why it can happen this way. I could pivot in a moment because when I sit and I meditate, I analyze and I deconstruct. And I do a deep level of meditation that takes me to a whole nother place. But esoteric magic, I'm gonna tell you how powerful esoteric magic is, right? Esoteric magic, you start off with what's called an encircle sphere, right? I suggest you read up on this before you try it. Make sure you have gone through So Frail and you have mastered the tree of life. You understand your chakras. You know how to keep them clear. Don't do nothing that I'm telling you to do without thorough research and understanding first. Y'all know how I feel about belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. If you do not understand this shit, do not fuck with it. I'm not saying some bad shit gonna happen to you. I'm not saying some good shit gonna happen to you, but I'm saying I don't know what the fuck could happen to you because I don't know how the fuck you are on the inside. You feel me? Not everybody projects their internal side externally. I happen to because I don't give a fuck no more. Nah, I'm not gonna say I don't give a fuck no more. But I reached a point where I no longer can hide from my deities. I've accepted that I can't hide from I can't hide from the source. The fuck, like I gotta come as I am. And the source knew that when I was created, born of my mother, born of my father, raised in poverty, grew up in the hood, all of the shit that I went through, it's like, I can see why you act like that. And it's okay that you act like that because you're a part of the environment. The fuck? Be you. We know what you're supposed to be. We know what you are based off of what your circumstance is. So the only way you really gonna be free is if you embrace it, and you come to us as if you embrace it. So when I come as this. This is why when I tell y'all, I don't be remembering. Like y'all can hit me up and be like, bro, that podcast was so dope. What I say? Y'all be like, you remember? No, I don't. I really don't, because these aren't things I think about. I just talk. I hit record and I talk. That's it. Because I'm bringing it from a different place. Because I know how to actively bring that. Not only do I know how to actively bring it, I know how not to turn it off. It's always on. I've learned to keep it always on. So these deep thoughts that I get and all these epiphanies and shit that I be getting, like sometimes this shit really be real time. But like, damn, it comes to me right then. Right? Because I've learned how to use this. So like I said, esoteric magic, it's not scary, but like I said, I need y'all to understand everything about clearing your chakras and all that shit before you tap into it. If you're there and you feel confident about it, you know, your own discretion, whatever the case may be, but read this book called Esoteric Magic by Philip C. Cooper, or Philip Cooper, or some shit like that. I want to say his name is Philip C. Cooper, but he breaks down how to truly center your mind meditatively. This is why one of the hardest reasons why a lot of people as men, we can't really tap into it, because we're trying to do a lot of feminine spiritual practices. Esoteric magic is a masculine spiritual practice in conjunction with numerology, in conjunction with astrology, in conjunction with tarot. But esoteric magic is like a quintessential piece of showing you how to use it masculinely. You feel me? So I'm going to show you how it ties to the Hebrew, even how it ties to the religion, and why they fuck with y'all and they keep it, you know what I mean? So within esoteric magic, one of the first things you learn how to do is an encircled sphere, right? The encircled sphere is very, very important. But first, you have to do the cross. You have to learn the encircle cross. Before you can encircle the cross, you have to understand the cross, right? You have to understand the cross. The cross has what? 4 points, which is 4 directions. You have air, fire, water, and earth. You have north, south, east, west. You have summer, winter, spring, fall. You have everything that is broken down to a quadrant of 4 is some way in shape or form going to fit within that, right? So you go from there. You start off with yourself as the centerpiece. You make lines that extend from you as the center to form a cross. You're sitting in the center, and in there you're visualizing, okay, bam, this is going to be air, this is going to be water, this is going to be fire, this is going to be earth. You want to make it in a certain way. You can make it clockwise, counterclockwise. It's a power that is centering your mind. Everything else has to stop. This literally, while you're doing this, all of the thoughts stop. You're centering yourself, breathing into it. It ties back into the breath. Taking deep breath, inspiration, expiration, inspiration, expiration. You're creating the rhythm, the balance between these 4 points. Then you're going to connect the circle. So now the cross that you just made is now created into a circle, right? Now, this is where numerology comes in, because you're dealing with the number 4, right? You're dealing with the number 4. In addition to dealing with the number 4, you're also dealing with 360 degrees, because you're making that first circle. Not only that, those 4 points, they create 4 corners, 90 degrees apiece. You feel me? Squares are masculine because they're finite. Feminine energy is infinite. Masculine energy is finite. Esoteric magic teach you how to use the masculine side of your spiritual system, right? So you're not codifying and boxing things in. So that's the encircled sphere, encircled circle. No, the encircled cross. So from there, then you make the encircled sphere. So you take those same lines that you have, and from the centerpiece, which is you draw one line up and one line down. That one line up is supposed to create, here's what I'm going to say, and watch how I break it down because it's going to make sense. It's going to fuck with y'all too. So that encircled sphere from the center, you make one line up and one line down. That one line up that they call, it says goes to the heavens. The one line down, it says it goes to the earth, goes to the base, right? When you connect all the dots, you make a sphere. So now you're in your third dimension. So now you have 360 degrees from the corners, the circle, and now you have a sphere, right? Sphere is a 3D version of the circle, basically. You know what I'm saying? So you create the world. What is the first verse of the Bible? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. What is another name for God? Yahweh. What is Yahweh? Jehovah. Jehovah is the four letters that denote air, fire, water, and earth. What did we just create? The heavens and the earth. When I tell people, if you really wanted to have Bible study with me, we wouldn't make it out of Genesis before I fucked you up. I didn't even get past the first verse yet. Because our spiritual system is different. Men have to break down spirituality different than women have to break it down. Right? But anywho, so that teaches you the four elements, four seasons, four directions, north, south, east, west. It's four. It's the number four, right? Because four is the power of creation. Not the power of creation, but four is the pillars of what creation is when it comes together. So it says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Literally, the first foundational piece of creating a esoteric sphere, encircled sphere, is to create the heavens and the earth. So who is the God that just created the heavens and the earth? If you're in your mind visually meditating, and as it also goes, in the beginning, God was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. When you put those 4 points down, and you have those 4 points, air, water, fire, and earth, north, south, east, west, the 4 directions, summer, fall, winter, spring, and you have Yod, He, Vav, He, the 4 letters that make up God, in the beginning. So this is another important piece. The Bible starts off, it says in the beginning, not at. That is a very important piece, because when you understand the grammar of it, to say at the beginning means that it's at the start. To be in means that you're in the middle of it. Esoteric magic, you are sitting in the beginning. God, Jehovah, YHVH, that is the circle and circle cross, created the heavens and the earth. It is the centerpiece. You are the centerpiece. And as you're meditating within your mind, you're creating this sphere around yourself. That's the world. It was all a metaphor, an allegory. It just literally took you from the mythology to the top of the allegory, just off the first verse. I can't go through the whole Bible right now, but we got to follow this and we got to get right. So from the esoteric magic, what you do is, when you understand what the significance of each element is, you understand how, when you vibrate up, you go to heaven. When you take the 4 elements and you construct them up, if you divide the sphere, that's why you have the base and you have the earth, or whatever the case may be. But the base at the bottom is really representative of hell, or whatever the case may be. But you serve as the center, right? From where the cross comes in. So the top of the sphere, the upper half of the sphere, is what takes you to heaven. It's a different spiral, but it's how you use positively the air, fire, and water and earth elements together. Now, if you go back and you look at the air, fire, and water elements, they work in a certain way. Water and earth makes wet or damp. Air and fire make dry. Fire and water don't make anything because it's not connected. Air and water makes moist, or cold, no, cool or cold or some shit like that. Each one, I'm drawing off the top of the head, but each one of these has a different pictorial of the element. So those things not fade, but they come together as a part of the sphere as they get to what makes heaven. Conversely, if you do them the other way, you can create hell. Right? So when we're looking and we're studying the esoteric magic, and we're using the encircled sphere, and we're actually breaking it down in a meditative space, what you do is, as you're meditating, you're visualizing this, right? What you do to alchemize is you put the thought, or you put the thing you wish to use, into the center of this sphere with you yourself, and you see how this thing relates to the air. What does air mean? Air is based off of intelligence, right? So we understand that air element. Fire is transformation, right? Water is fluidity. Earth is foundation. How are these things related to the very thing you're meditating on? This is how you create with it. The proof. When people to know, because people say you got to show that you can do it. The very first thing that I broke down was day trading and investing. When I meditated, the very first thing that I came to was investing and trading. And I needed to know what elements and components were in this to give me a heaven and what elements and components were in it to give me hell. The circle sphere. As I meditated on these things and I got all these different components, what has evolved out of this? Mastering the market and play with inflation community. Anybody who's in the community can literally see that I can see both the heaven and I can see both the hell in this. Hence why I can teach you about heroes and villains. But I digress. Feel me? I don't want to be one of those motherfuckers who says, oh, I could just talk about this shit. And I've shown you that I've done it and I do it. And I'm still going to do it and I'm going to do it again because I understand the science of the esoteric magic. So now this allows me to pull things down out of the ethers. So the ethers, these are the higher elements of creation. There's more than 7, right? There's more than 4 for one. We think it's air, fire, water, and earth. But it's why I also go into sound, light, and thought. Thought is an element. The element, only thing faster than light is thought. Only thing faster than thought is the ethers. What's in the ethers? And the ethers are where all the ideas of everything is. That's why they say there's nothing new under the sun. All right. And the reason why is because there's nothing new under the sun is because everything sits in the pool of consciousness that is directed to the source, that is pulled from the source. You feel me? And when all of those things can be pulled, there's no time there. That's why there's nothing new under the sun. You can pull something from the past that you can use in the future. You can pull something in the future that could be used in the present time. You can manipulate time at will. All you have to do is be intentional with what you do and know how to tap into it. It requires the masculine side to do this. This is why this is a so frail conversation, because we don't really talk about the spiritual system for ourselves, right? So with that meditation, right, that segued me that, like, once you get esoteric magic down and you get the ability to form geometric shapes, like, you know how you ever heard the phrase sacred geometry? They be like, yeah, this is sacred geometry. It has coded symbolisms. And when you learn what sacred geometry is and you know how to manipulate it in your mind, you was a bad motherfucker. I know, because I'm a bad motherfucker, but I'm going to break something down for you too. So when we look at those 4 elements, all right, air, fire, water, and earth, they're denoted by special little triangles. 2 of them are regular triangles and the other ones are triangles with a line around the peak. When you juxtapose all 4 of these triangles onto each other, you get the Star of David, the 6-point star. You feel me? You get the Star of David, which is what? In the Bible. Why was David's star? And that was important. That's why I mentioned David asking, okay, he was talking to God, how many should I send to battle? It's like, yo, 300. Whoever does this right here, take that number. Solid number. Don't change that. Take 300 motherfuckers. It's not subjective. It's objective. You dig what I'm saying? It's not infinite. It's finite. You feel me? Powerful shit. But the Star of David was those 4 elements, because what they were telling you was that his synchronicity of these 4 elements is what made him the great king. God set him apart because he had tapped into God. Same way Jesus did, same way a lot of these other motherfuckers did, but he tapped into it. So now, here's why I'm mentioning that, and I mentioned it with sacred geometry, because when you take that 6-point star, that Star of David, and you make it a 3D shape, you get 2 different things. Well, you get the same thing with 2 different names. The first thing you get is a Merkaba. It's Merkaba, light, soul, body. That's what it means. Light, soul, body. Yeah, the Mer is light, the Ka is the soul, the Ba is the body, right? So it's Merkaba, the light, soul, body. It is actually something that you can create when you're meditating. It is a deep level of meditation. You have to get to that point. You feel me? You take the deep level of meditation as you're sitting in it, you create the Merkaba around you, and it allows your soul to move around to certain realms so you can learn new shit. If you want to learn new shit, you can leave your body. Some people call it astral projection. Some people say I'm riding on a Merkaba, whatever the case may be. It's different when you astral project, because that is when you're intentionally about to go to sleep and you fight your sleep and you let your body leave. That's astral projection. To be in your Merkaba, you actually turn your Merkaba on. It's like a car in a sense. When you do your meditations, you now create this around your spirit, is your energy, your consciousness that has to form the Merkaba. You have to be in tune with that part. This is why I talk about the 3 levels of the mind: the conscious mind, subconscious mind, and unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is where your Merkaba is at. When you can waken up your unconscious mind, that's when you're able to create your Merkaba and go get certain information. So I tell people, like, I'll be downloading shit. I'm starting to let y'all in on some other secrets and shit. I go get it. It's deeper than just downloading it. I go get it. It's not unlocked. It's unlocked too, but I also go get it. Like, I know how to go get certain information. But one thing I do and I pride myself on is that when I go get this information, I make sure I study in the real world so I can have tangible shit to give it back to you. It's low key why I don't be wrong a lot of times, because I make sure that before I can express this, it is something in this world that can validate it. If not, I leave it alone. There's a lot of shit that I don't talk about because I can't talk about it yet, because y'all really wouldn't see it, because I don't have anything to give it to you yet. But when it does come, you get it. I'm gonna make sure I give it to you. But that's a Merkaba, right? The other name for the Merkaba is Metatron's cube. If you're religious and you study the Bible or whatever the case may be, you've heard of Metatron's cube. It is the Star of David in 3D form. Look up all of these things. They're right there. They're for you to look up. You feel me? So it's like, how do you, what does this have to do with our spirit? Because it takes into the next aspect of our spiritual system, the highest point, which is our Akashic records. Our Akashic records are our souls. That is the recordation of our souls, past lives, all of the shit that we've been through. Does it give you the exact moment of what you look like and what you did in these moments? No. It gives you the recollection that your soul imprinted. So there's things right now that you have always been good at that you don't know why you've been good at it, because it is something that is in your Akashic record. You have to go back to the Akashic record and figure out why. Like, people are like, yo, you just naturally been good at words and shit like that, because I had to realize one of my gifts. I told y'all this in an episode on, gifts, talents, and skills. Telling you where it all, like, you realize that some things are talents because you developed them in a previous life and your Akashic record stored it, and now you're able to use it now. You can use it again. You just have to remember and tap it in. You feel me? That's why I say, when people say, yo, what are your gifts? That's why I say, yo, the ultimate gift is life. But specifically for this life, the gifts that I was given to use were my gift of thought and my gift of oration for the most part. These are gifts that I learned how to use. I become talented with those gifts and I made skills out of them. You feel me? But for the most part, these are things that were given based off of understanding how my physical being translated from the Akashic records. But it was levels of meditation that I had to get to. Couldn't pray for this. You have to go get it. Some of the shit you have to go get. And a part of our spiritual practices, men, is our spiritual systems are deeper than what a lot of people are willing to give us credit for. Deeper than we're willing to understand. This is why it's like largely women have dreams. The shit has to be given to them. They can have it. They can receive it. Women are what? Receivers. Men are givers. Sometimes we got to go get the shit. We got to actually go get it. So we have to have the spiritual practice and the spiritual system is set up to leave and go get it. Now, this is why I say you have to make sure your shit's on point. Chakras are clear, open. You have gone through the tree of life, reached a certain levels, because when you get there, you can see some shit that you might not want to see, but you have to learn how to be able to view it objectively, to be able to confront it and say, okay, this is where I'm getting that from. Because you may have a past life where you was a very dark soul. You may have a past life you was a very light soul. You may have a past life you didn't even get to do the shit you were supposed to do because it got cut short. There's so many different things, and it's like you'll see where your soul went through a certain point. And those are the things of what spirituality is supposed to get us back to, our centering, to remember why the fuck we here, why the fuck we had to come back. So when I look at us as men and our spiritual practices, I always ask myself, it's like, do my brothers really know what the fuck it is? Like, I don't think we do. And the reason why I say I don't think we do, for one, because like I always say, masculinity ain't in this world. So we can't be using our spirituality through the masculine lens. And as somebody who's learned to use the masculine lens for his spiritual system, it's like, this is why when I talk to people, they be like, yo, people gonna believe what they gonna believe it. No, you can't. You can't. There's no reason why there should be context, and there's no reason why there should be things that we don't truly understand wholeheartedly. See, as men, our responsibility is analysis and deconstruction. As women, their responsibility is synthesis and construction. To spiritually synthesize and construct what has not been spiritually analyzed and deconstructed will keep you stagnant. So when they say men need to lead, men need to be the ones that are supposed to be taking this shit to the next level. We are, but we have to remember that we have to do this through the masculine lens, because what the feminine lens is doing is going to keep repeating the shit that is analyzed and deconstructed in this world, not what has to be brought down. When I tell y'all So Frail had to come from a different place, this is what I mean. There was something different about what I had to do with So Frail. There was something different about what So Frail brought into this world and what So Frail was supposed to bring into this world. It was something that had never been seen before and never been done before. So I had to go to a place that knew nobody could. I had to do shit that motherfuckers couldn't do or were scared to do. And I had to go to a place that people couldn't go through. But I had to heal my mind. All of this time, you feel me? I already knew this, but I'm telling y'all now. So all of this time is like when I talk about heartbreaks, talk about disappointments, and like for men, a lot of women don't understand. Our hearts don't get broken, our minds do. That's why we can't heal, because we don't know how to heal our mind, because we think we have to heal our heart. The shit don't hurt. The pain don't hurt long. It bothers us because we constantly think about what ifs. If you've ever heard my album, I have a song called What Ifs and OLs. It's on my SoundCloud. But I have a song called What Ifs and OLs. Wrote that shit back in 2012, 2013. But it's a song called What Ifs and OLs. And at that moment, this was before I knew how to access my higher self. My higher self was speaking to me and coming through, but I was still cluttering the fact that I had not reached this point. So as I'm thinking about what ifs and what else, what ifs and OLs, I'm thinking about, yo, I can't live this life with what ifs anymore. I have to live with OLs, but I had to realize why I had to do that, because in the healing, I couldn't heal my heart. Like when I talk about the heartbreak, it's like, that's the only way I can call it, because that's what we experience in this world. Heartbreaks when it's tied to relationship. Men, we lose our minds. Nobody sees that. And we don't know that we lost our mind, and we don't even know how to fix our mind when we have a heartbreak, because we think it's the heart. And we think before we feel. So why would it be our heart? But our hearts do hurt. Don't get me wrong. It hurts at the heart, but it's triggered to the mind. This is why we try to distract ourselves on a subconscious level, because we know we don't know how to deal with it. We just distract ourselves. We work more, we work harder, we focus on other shit, we go fuck other women, we do a whole bunch of shit to take our minds away from it. The same way when women go through heartbreaks, they do shit to make them feel good. You feel me? But what do we do? Because of the way the cultural structure is, we try to feel good about the shit. And it doesn't stop, because it's not our hearts that are broken, it's our minds. We feel it resonated within our heart, because that is the centerpiece of the body. You feel me? That's pretty much one of the centerpieces of the body. It's right there at your heart chakra. It's right in the middle. Heart chakra is number 4. It is represented by the air element. It is the transitional element between the 5th dimension and the 3rd dimension. Heart chakra is the 4th dimension, and it is the intermediate space between those. Again, numbers play into this. All of these things are important as far as us having our spiritual systems, because a system is something that has to work according to a certain way. Your spiritual means that it is about the breath, it's about balance. What systems do you use to bring you into alignment that are rooted in the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction? As men, to progress and to elevate in life, we cannot feel to do it. We have to think to do it. So everything that we do is largely mental. It's largely off the mind. A lot of the women is largely off the heart. So when we actually look at the 3 pillars of the quote unquote human being, the mind, the body, the being, for men, it's the mind, the soul. The soul, the mind, and the body. For women, it's the soul, the emotions, or the heart, and the body. And motherfuckers try to tell you we the same. We not. But see, the emotions and the thoughts, because they're tied to the mind and the heart, emotions and the thoughts kind of be one and the same. But men think before they feel, women feel before they think. So if our spiritual system is not tied to our thought process, it's not tied to what we think, how far can we get in life when it's time to do some spiritual shit? Because spiritual shit is where the alchemy comes in. So when I'm in the point where I'm telling people, hey, I can do X, Y, and Z. No, you can't. All right. This is why if you ever have given me information and I have taken it to a whole nother level that you was like, damn, that's crazy. I didn't even know about that. That's why I go somewhere with it. I always go somewhere with it and I break it down according to the 4 tenets. That's the spiritual practices, men, that we're supposed to have. When we look at the monuments, we look at the pyramids, when we look at all, like, we always talk about what made them kings and queens, what made them enlightened, what made them all of these different things. And we don't want to tap into it. We're scared because we know what it's going to make us do. I'm telling you, I know motherfuckers are scared because of what it's going to take them to. Simply because I've been there and I can make the comparison on what it is to be from a religious mind and then going up there. I used to tell myself, man, if I saw this shit, I never forget the day I had my first real spiritual dream. That dream it's almost manifested fully now, but it was like 2011, 2012. That heartbreak fucked me up again, but it opened up my mind. Women love different afterwards, but men's minds open up differently too. But it's like when you take that spiritual aspect, it's like I got a dream. In that dream, I got shot 22 times. Kobe Bryant was in a dream wearing number 24. My brother was there. I ended up climbing a mountain full of white snow and shit. My best friends from undergrad were there. They took me to the hospital and I got shot and I didn't die. Niggas was really shooting me. I just kept walking like, what the fuck are y'all doing? You feel what I'm saying? And when I broke down that dream, it took me to have to use analysis and deconstruction to fully understand what that dream was talking about. So being shot 22 times in the dream was I had gone through all 22 paths of my tree of life, didn't even know it. By that age, I was like, damn, why did I get shot 22 times? Because those 22 things are the 22 paths of the tree of life. It's a bullet. It's a bullet for every one of those paths. But this is why I tell people, you have to be so well learned in so many different things that you can get a message whenever you need it. I was in that dream, I was tied into, so my mind is open to so many different things that whenever I need to get a message, I would get it. However, I can see message in simple shit because I'm so attuned to so many different things because I've analyzed and deconstructed so much of the world, and I pride myself on standing on that. My spiritual system is led with analysis and deconstruction because masculinity is different. So because of that, I'm able to get multiple things. Now, also because of that, when I get a dream, when I get a vision, when I get a message, when I get these things, it takes me time to break them down because it's like, that could literally mean anything. How did these two things even fucking go together? What the fuck, bro? Like, you feel me? As opposed to people who's like, yo, I had this dream that was real simple, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, can you help me interpret it? No, I can't. That's your dream. Because I know how to interpret dreams. I know how to guide you into what you're interpreting. I have to get you to the point, well, what does that point represent here? Do you remember? Because some people, I don't remember all the details. Cool. The only details you remember is apparently what was important, or apparently what you have something in your database to give you that message. So literally you have an incomplete message. When there's parts of a dream you can't recall, you have an incomplete message because there was nothing in your lexicon, nothing in your database to give you the missing pieces to that dream. So you're going to have to wait. So you're going to have to use the pieces that you have to break down and understand what they represent in your life and where they come from to see if you can get the remaining pieces. And usually what happens is when I'm going over dreams with people and I'm helping them walk through their dreams, they're like, oh, I remember a part now. And then they get to that part and then it's like, oh, damn, I know exactly what the dream is about. Yes, you interpret your dreams. Nobody else can interpret your dreams because they don't know what's in your imagination. They don't know what's in your unconscious mind. They don't know what has been programmed within you for this dream to be the reality that you need to have to get your message across. So as men, we get these moments and our spiritual practice don't allow us to truly see it. Because we try to see we try to see it from a woman's perspective, which is how religion is built, which is how religions are, because Religions were designed to control women. Religions were designed to control women, not men. But what has happened to the men who follow religion? They don't even use it right. This is why women got to submit and why women can't be free. Because you know what freedom is? Infinity. What is infinity? Feminine. You got to submit because now you have to be caught up. You have to be in a box. And women don't even. That's why y'all be thinking I'll be reaching and shit. This is why I say like women don't need to be submissive. They need to be unleashed. And when I say this shit, women light up like, you right, because this, that, and I know. Because I seen what y'all haven't seen yet. I don't be bullshitting when I say I forgot what a lot of motherfuckers ain't fathomed yet. Or no, I forgot what motherfuckers ain't learned yet. And I reminisce on shit that people haven't even fathomed yet. This shit comes because my spiritual practice is rooted in masculinity. And not only that, it's rooted in something that gives accountability of self. Those are the two missing keys to us as men in our spiritual systems. Our spiritual systems don't give us accountability. None of them. They tell you to tell motherfuckers what they shouldn't do. The higher up, I'm gonna be a deacon, I'm gonna be a bishop, I'm gonna be a pastor and all of this shit. And all I can do is tell motherfuckers what they shouldn't do. I don't tell y'all shit that y'all shouldn't do because I don't give a fuck what y'all should or shouldn't do anyway. I don't know y'all life. I tell you what I did, what I do, and why I'm doing it, and how you can use this to apply to your life. Right? But at the end of the day, it's all of my spiritual system. My spiritual system is how well I can bring balance into myself. If you pay attention to anything that I do, everything is balanced. My podcast is Profane Profundity. In Mastering the Market, we get the heroes and the villains. And so Frail, whether motherfuckers caught it or not, I gave you both masculinity and femininity. All you have to do is flip what's masculine. Because I didn't really want to write about femininity because I'm not a woman. I don't feel like as a man in today's climate, I can't write about femininity. They're going to crucify me. You're not even a fucking woman. How dare you speak on femininity? Because y'all ain't speaking on it right. Y'all don't know what y'all doing. But I do because I understand the power and the essence that it is. But everything I do has reached this balanced piece. It's balanced point, which is what spirituality is supposed to be. And I flow as such. So I give y'all this because it's like, now we get into the practices. I know this is long and I'm going to try to wrap it up, but now we get into the practice. Like astrology. Astrology is dope. Astrology is dope because it shows you the esoteric magic of the four elements: air, fire, water, and earth, and how they relate to each other. That's what you use astrology for. You don't do it to see if you're compatible with another motherfucker. You use it to see how these energies work. J.P. Morgan, he said, millionaires use accountants, billionaires use astrology. I told one of my homies that, and he was like, yo, you really are on some other shit. When I told him that, that's when he wanted to learn astrology. Yo, billionaires, yes, billionaires use astrology, homie. They use fucking astrology. Now I get it, niggas. Well, why you ain't a billionaire yet? Because I haven't helped a billion motherfuckers yet. But a billionaire, to use astrology is different because here's why. When you use astrology, and when you do it from the masculine perspective, you don't feel through it, you think through it, and you break it down to the point where you understand every element. So when we look at Jehovah and us, we let us, when he says in Genesis, let us create man in our image and likeness. The fuck you think he was talking about? Even in the Quran, it says it plural as well. It says we will mold man in our image and likeness. Who is this we and why is it plural? Because now you have to look at the layers to it. It's those four elements: air, fire, water, and earth. So now this is how you use astrology in your spiritual system, right? With astrology, you have the four signs: air signs, fire signs, water signs, and earth signs, right? Now you have the three representations of them. Feel me? What is it? You have the cardinal, the mutable, and the fixed, right? These are three expressions of how the fire is supposed to move, which is Aries, Leo, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, right? These are the three ways in which air signs manifest themselves: Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. These are the three ways in which water manifests itself: Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, I think. Yeah, and then the earth: Capricorn, Taurus, and whatever the last sign is, because I know I said all 11. But you are designed to analyze and deconstruct these to see how these energies work together. So in these particular months, these particular days, these particular seasons, whatever the case may be, and you know that there's certain planetary alignments, now you have to look at how the planets play out. So when you look at astrology, the planet is the what, the house is the where, and the sign is the how. Because it's, let me see, the planet is what energy, and the sign is how that energy manifests itself, and the house is where, right? And all of these 12 houses have certain dynamics. Now, when you look at Jesus and his 12 disciples, you start to see why he was a fisher of men and a Pisces energy and all of that other shit. But you use the astrological energies, right? And you use them, let's say, esoterically. So now let's say we're doing the esoteric magic in circle, sphere, and everything. And now we're seeing, how do I understand according to one of the three areas? So now you have the fixed signs, the cardinal signs, and the mutable signs. Understand what those mean, because when you understand what those mean, that adds to your arsenal within your spiritual system. Because now when you're able to see what elements are prevalent in certain things in life, you say, okay, this is an air, this is some earth energy. It's grounding, it's stabilizing. But how is it doing it? Is it fixed? Is it mutable? Is it cardinal? Okay, cool. Now we're going to take it to a whole nother level. Just dealing with astrology, right? So now we got the house, the sign, the planet. Now, how do these things relate to each other, right? You have oppositions, which is when these two things are completely opposite to each other or 180 degrees apart. Mind you, everything's about 360 degrees. Full consciousness, y'all. That's what people, 360 degrees of consciousness. I'm going to show you how to reach the shit. I'm going to show you how to use the 360 degrees of consciousness, both of them, the finite and the infinite, because the finite is masculine, the infinite is feminine. I'm too cold with this shit. So when we look at the astrology, now you look at the levels. You have oppositions, which are 180 degrees to each other. You have sextiles, which are 60 degrees from each other. You have trines, which are 30 degrees from each other. You have quincunx, which are 150 degrees from each other. You have these moments are saying this energy will correlate with this energy when it's in this position. How do these things work? So let's say opposition, 180 degrees. That's so simple. An opposition means that when these two things coincide, let's keep it simple. We have Aries and Libra, fire and water, fire and air. Yeah, fire and air, but they're in opposition to each other. There's going to be friction there. Opposition doesn't necessarily mean destruction or mean bad, but there's going to be a level of opposition there. So now when you look at what is an Aries sign, I think I want to say, is Aries cardinal or is it fixed? No, I think Aries is a cardinal sign, whatever. But you're going to tie that cardinal energy to the energy of the Libra in that space. Now, how does this relate to each other? When you start to see things like that in the world, the principles are always there. People want, why are you so big on principles? Because now I know how to see through details. I can make whatever details I want because I understand principles so well. So when you have the different positions of how these affect each other, now when you go into a space, you don't even have to be using astrology from that perspective. So like, let's say we're in a money space. We're in a particular Aries season, or let's say we're in a Pisces season, because I don't want to keep using Aries because I'm Aries. Let's say we're in a Pisces season, right? And you want to know how to move your money in the Pisces season. Well, what do you need to do? What do you need to know about Pisces? What kind of, it's fluid, so it's water. So I need to be able to flow. In which way do I need to flow? What is the pivotal piece of what it is that I'm doing? How is what I'm doing affected? What kind of element is what I'm doing? That will determine how I need to flow and how I need to use that. Your spiritual system is about how can this bring you into balance. Always remember that. It's about bringing you into balance. So that's one aspect. That's just astrology, right? Tarot. Tarot is a little bit different. than astrology, but it leads you to the same thing because tarot's still broken down into fours: air, fire, water, and earth cards. But then you also have the 22 major arcana, like I said, which ties the Hebrew alphabet into it, which all represents a specific point. So if you look at the tree of life, that is simply the major arcana. The minor arcana are the spheres. So the tree of life, the major arcana are the paths. The minor arcana will be the spheres. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Those are the face cards on this. So many different levels to it. But when you're at a certain position in life, the tree of life is very important because when you're at a certain position in life, you see where you are. When we look at, by the beginning of the Bible, we're at the heavens and the earth. We're at Kether, which is a tree of life thing. We're supposed to get down to Malkuth, which is the revelations at the end, but we're supposed to meet everything in the middle. The best way to understand this is when Jesus was created, or whatever the case may be. God was at Kether, Jesus was Malkuth. Jesus had to ultimately come back to God, to die, resurrection, all that other shit, 3 days and all of that shit. But his consciousness had to reach back. So there's points within the tree of life that have to coincide. They're still, like I said, they relate to air, fire, water, and earth. So you have to see how this path connects with this path and how this sphere connects with this sphere, what themes of these spheres are and how they work together. Now that I'm not going to go deep into because that's in Frail 3, for real, like the whole thing. But that encompasses tarot, astrology, and all of that other shit too. But tarot is another one. It's a spiritual thing that you can add to your spiritual system. How do you come back into balance? So when you take out a whole spread, now here's where it becomes binary. Like, you know how the matrix has the numbers 1010, like you see all of these different numbers. Now you're going to get to a whole different level with tarot. When you're reading the cards, if you take a 10 card spread and you have major arcana and minor arcana and you tying it to the tree of life at the same time, you're going to get a word. You get a word. Each path, you get words with numbers in them. That's what tarot is. It's about how the words and the numbers come together. Well, not the word. Well, the letters and the numbers come together to make words with numbers in them. So let's say you get a major arcana, right? Because these are the 22 paths of the tree of life. You get 4 major arcana that spell out a single word. These 4 depictions come together and they make that one word. What is that word? This is why. Why don't you know Hebrew? How the fuck you a Hebrew Israelite, but you don't know Hebrew? You feel me? And then when you do know Hebrew, you don't use it the way it's supposed to be used. This is why you couldn't say certain shit. This is why that word abracadabra is used in magic, but abracadabra is what I think I create. You can't tell me them motherfuckers want magicians if they're talking like that. You feel me? But again, that's another piece of the arsenal because now you can tie this into the esoteric magic. Because now these cards can be laid out according to the sphere and the cross. Because you have an air sign, fire sign, water sign. Now you can lay it out. And when you lay it out and you see the heavens and the earth, what are these things going to create in the heaven and how can they create the earth? So when you get, let's say you get some air cards, you get like 3 air cards, no earth cards, 2 water cards, and a fire card, right? How does that relate? Because now you have to see both sides. So this is why when they tell you in tarot, you have to see it could be the positive or it could be negative. You need to understand both dynamics to see in the moment, what are you going to trigger to be able to prepare for both of them? Because if I spiral up, I create the heaven, which is of course positive, but I can do the exact same thing with this exact same resource and send it down to hell and become negative. So now when we look at how people say things like, the good, when people only want the good out of tarot readings, you can't. People only see the bad, you can't. You have to see it as an objective thing and how it relates to the spiritual side. Because what it's telling you is like, yo, this is the manifestation that you're going to get. All right. Now you can control this manifestation because you're the center point, creating the heaven and the hell, which one you want. You can literally create both if you want to, but there's going to be the same impetus behind them. So you have to see the energy that these cards are telling you that they represent. And when you see the energy that they represent, now you're able to use them accordingly. You can't shuffle your cards and automatically, oh, something bad is going to happen. No, it's like, what are the words and numbers that are being told to me right now? And with that being said, speaking of the numbers, now we go into the numerology. Numerology is powerful because numerology is another aspect of putting the numbers with the letters. But it's codifying the letters according to numbers and telling you what the numbers say. This is why it's very important when you name somebody. A name is a string of numbers, numerologically. When you intentionally name your children, you create something powerful and don't even know it. Because now when you tie it to the numbers and it's like, yo, I want this number out of a child. Like, for example, I'm going to tell you how to make a child's name enhanced on a whole different level. Let's say you want your... Black people are good at doing this without knowing they're doing it. You ever notice why we spell people's name? We spell a name a different or unique way and don't even know why we're doing it. Because on a deep level, we're saying, I want this name, but I need this configuration numerologically. You feel me? We laugh at it, call it ghetto or whatever case may be, but it's actually very spiritual. Like, I knew a woman whose name, well, I know a couple of women whose names are Erica. Simple, Erica or Erika. But I knew another woman whose name was spelled Erica. It was Erica, but it's AIRWRECA. See, they should have never gave niggas. But you don't understand what our souls are trying to tell us that we need to remember. It may come out ugly, it may come out false, it may come out wrong because of the perceptions of all of the shit that we forgot. But there's a reason why we do this shit. In our times, we would take the name, we would take a word and see what that word meant and break it down numerologically first. And we're going to say, we want this word, but now we want to give you the highest vibration for what we want this to have to enhance it. Because numbers coincide with the stars, they coincide with the magic, they coincide with the gift of the person. For example, my name is Racine. In French, it means root, but I'm not French. So I go by the etymological perspective of using the combination of Ra and Sin. Ra means the light. Ra is also the Egyptian god, the Kemetic god. You feel me? Scenes, to view, to look, to see. I don't think my mom really knew what she was doing. I know her intention. She's like, I meant to name you King, because it does mean King, Ray from a Spanish perspective, Ra, that derives from king. But the farther back you go, the deeper my name gets. So Ra or Ray. That's why I don't mind when people, they shorten it, like, yo, Ra. I don't care no more. I used to be like, nah, it's Ray. It's not Racine. It's Racine. I don't care anymore because, like, you're either way, you saying my name and you're affirming the light or the God that you see. It's crazy. And it was crazy because there was a time I didn't like that name. But the structure, my name could, and it hit me because I remember I had ran into an old friend and I was in like 3rd grade with. I found her on MySpace. And I was like, yo, do you remember me? And she was like, is this Racine? And she spelled it Raceen. And I was like, I mean, that's not how you spell it, but yeah. Then I thought about, why is my spelling so important? When I did my numbers, I break down to a 1. My name breaks down to a 1. Let me show you how powerful this shit is. My name breaks down to a 1 and I'm an Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. I was born to fuck shit up. I was born to be initiated. I was born to be the first of a lot of shit. And I was always wondering why I couldn't duplicate shit, why I couldn't be around motherfuckers and be the second. You're like, oh, that's just the Aries in you. It's the reason why it's the Aries in me, because the Aries in me coupled with the number 1 energy. I'm designed to be a pioneer. I'm designed to be an initiator. And I initiate a lot of shit. I spark a lot of shit on all levels. I get shit started. Some people don't even realize how subtle the shit is that I start. And it's just like, people just copy it. You feel me? I literally got motherfuckers on social media typing Breh. BREH. I'm like, y'all don't even know what I can't, bro. You've been saying it for so long. It's just, so you stole my lingo. I initiated some shit. Slide tools on Instagram. I know my energy. I know my power. I know it all. And I don't shortchange it anymore. But again, these are all a part of the spiritual practices that we have as men that we don't use anymore, because all of these practices are about how well we analyze and deconstruct spiritually. This is the missing piece. I know I always talk about spiritual, mental, and physical. And all my podcasts, everything was largely about the mental and the physical analysis and deconstruction. Now I can give you the physical because Soul 3 is out. I mean, spiritual because So Frail 3 is out. The numbers are very powerful because there's a thing called the Rosicrucian cycles. Look up those. The Rosicrucian cycles literally lay out what your entire year is going to be like. Motherfuckers be asking me like, yo, how do you prepare so well for shit? It's the stars and the numbers. I already know what the 52 weeks are going to look like for me. I already know what all 52 weeks are going to look like for me based off the time that I was born and how it's going to cycle back through. I know what phase I'm going to be in based on those numbers. That's called a Rosicrucian cycle. Look it up. You feel me? And then I know my life cycles. I have 3. My first life cycle ended when I was 28. Right along time with my Saturn return. All of these things is like right there codified for us, and we never got to see them because we followed the wrong shit. So now women can use this too, but at the same time, women have to feel through it. We have to use it for thought, right? We have to use it through analysis and deconstruction. So when we analyze and deconstruct the element, a letter, and a number, life doesn't get more basic than that. The alphabet and the numbers, and then the first 9, because after 10 every number is repeating itself. That's why in numerology they teach you to add them and break them down, but everything else is repeating itself. So do you have the numbers 1 through 9? 0 is not a number. 0 is not a number. It is a representation. It is 2 representation. It's complete nothingness. It is either nothingness or all encompassing. That's the power of 0. That's why when bound with a 10, that's why it starts the cycles over. But in the beginning, when it's just 0, it is nothingness. But then it is now a different combination as it is bound to the 10, to the 20, to the 30, to the 40, to the 50. And then it's going on to thousands of shit. The more zeros you have, you feel me? Ultimately breaks down. But then when you look at the individual numbers, each number represents something. So now with each one of these numbers being codified by a letter and the same letter being codified within the number, this is how numbers, and this is how the foundational piece of letters and numbers come together. So now when you look at number codes, addresses tied to words, where you lived sometimes was very important. You feel me? Where you lived is a very important piece. I'm going to break something down for you. When I lived in California, when I was a kid, before we left California, I was 9 years old. I was 9. 9 is a number of completion, right? The street that I lived on in California, my address was 143 West Plymouth Street. West, another 4, another symbol in another symbolism. I'm gonna let y'all look up what West is, but it's another symbolism in the tree of life. 4 represents West represents one of the elements. It's equated to an element as well. But anywho, the 143 is what was important. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 3 is 8. 8 is one of my challenge numbers. When 8s and 3s show up, I am designed, and these are moments where I'm going to grow and transform out of something. It's non-negotiable. The universe has been doing it since I was a kid, and I didn't know it until I got older. It's like every August, every August and every March, month-wise, I can guarantee something's going to happen. Every 3rd, every 12th, every 3rd, every 12th, every 21st, and every 30th. Something major is going to happen simply because those are 3s. Every 8th, every 17th, and every 26th of every month. Those are important months. Those are important moments. That's something, and I become attuned to it, to where I know when I move to different places, the address is like, oh, I got you. This was a challenge for me. This was something that was supposed to happen. Like when I look at apartments that I lived in, when I look at dorm rooms and shit, like all of it, every number mattered. Every number mattered. That's one of the reasons why I waited for episode 200 for that episode to be that episode. It's the numbers. It aligned perfectly to do what it needed to do. And low key, it opened the portal. When I tell people, I've been different since it was after episode 200, that was supposed to happen. Look up the number 2 and you'll see what I'm saying. Then add that with the numbers, with the zeros with it. 2 numbers of completion. You feel me? When zeros by itself, it means nothingness. But when it's tied to another number, it is a cycle of completion. It's a symbol. You feel me? That's another thing. I'm not even gonna get into symbolisms because that's something totally different. And we already finished this episode. I'm already wrapping it up here. But every place that I went, every place that I lived, even down to the high school, the classrooms, the level, the where you like, everything has an important number. And you can tell when it's gonna be some bullshit. You can tell when something's not gonna be some bullshit. You feel what I'm saying? It's easy. People love to look at 333, 444, 777. Nah, I'm way beyond that. When you tap in, when you learn how to use it into your spiritual system, now you can see what it is. So now, when I talk about going back into religion, religion tells you all of this shit. Why your pastor isn't teaching you this, I don't fucking know. Well, I do know, because if you were to reach the level that I am, you don't need church. You don't need the other shit that you think you don't need to call on it. You start commanding shit. You start bringing shit into reality. You start becoming an alchemist. That's what the whole goal was. Look at Jesus and study Jesus and study Muhammad, and really they were telling you the whole time, be like me. The fuck? This is why in Soul Frail 3, I ended Soul Frail 3, the Soul Frail series, what a Messiah was. From a letter standpoint, from a number standpoint, a lot of that shit's very important. Very important. This is another reason why we speak English now. Stripping our language was deeper than just connecting us to the culture, because it fucked with how we present, how we experience the numbers, and how we experience the letters, which means that it fucked with how we counted shit and how we quantified shit and how we qualified shit. Quantification is mathematics. Qualification is science. Science is feminine. Masculine. Mathematics is masculine. I'm telling y'all, I can keep going with the shit, bro, but I don't want to keep going with the shit. When you get to that point where you tap into your spiritual system and you figure out how to align with what brings you balance, and you now know how to tap into the esoteric sciences, that's when you become the true reality. And that's when he goes from, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, which is you, into the final verse in the Bible, which is in Revelation. The last word is Amen, which is it is so, as they say, or the hidden one. That means you start, you create yourself, and then you find who you are and you live it. And don't forget to check out Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self, and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Cafe Clothing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. My brothers, we need to learn, and we need to stop bullshitting and tap into our spiritual greatness, and tap into and align with our spiritual systems. And the reason why I call this spiritual systems, and I didn't talk about an actual system of practice, because there's no system to practice. It's whatever you can use and utilize to bring yourself into divine alignment. If you read Soul Frail 3, you know divine and divinity is the balance between your masculine and feminine essence. Divine masculine is when you have your masculine and feminine fully balanced, which now you lead through your predisposition, which is masculinity. That's all I be doing. I just got to a point where I have reached such a level that it doesn't look like I reached that level. So I be talking shit, and I can say what the fuck I want to say, and I do what I want to do, because it's not that I'm afraid of consequences. I know largely what consequences could happen, and I learn how to accept or reject them and say, do I want to accept these consequences or not? I don't ever want it to come off as a holier than thou thing, because it's not. This is why I'm able to reveal so much. Nobody can, like, nothing bothers me anymore. Like, nothing of my past can hurt me, because I realized, damn, all this shit happened for me. It didn't happen to me. It happened for me to understand and be able to see these, remember who the fuck I was. So now when bad shit happens in my life, I'm intentional with the shit, because I'm like, I intentionally created that situation. I remember the moment I did the shit. I no longer sit and ask, yo, what the fuck happened? It's like, damn, I ain't think it was going to happen that way, but it did. You feel me? I still play all scenarios. I'm still able to function and shit. And people, oh, you like to analyze and deconstruct shit. You always got to qualify and quantify shit. You damn right. You damn right, because that's my spiritual practice. That's most men's spiritual practice, and don't nobody want to let us be spiritual. Oh, we want you to feel and no, we can't. We analyze and deconstruct, homie. We are always qualifying and quantifying shit. Nobody wants to give us the credit for that shit. Like when you come to a man with a problem, what's his first reaction? Let's solve it. No, I just want to vent. Sometimes they want to let you. No, you can't just come here and do that shit. Shut the fuck up. Damn. Hate that shit, bro. Like, damn, do you want a solution or not? Go talk to your fucking homegirls and y'all just go talk about bullshit. I want to hear this shit. The fuck, man. Sorry. I got triggered. Like it just happens. You feel me? It just happens. But my brothers, man, don't be afraid of tapping into a spiritual system and one that's really something you want to do. Like, because we naturally have the intellectual capacity to learn anything, and we crave knowledge. We crave information. We do. We naturally crave information and don't even realize why we do it. We go down rabbit holes with shit easily, but we still only do it within the confines of us getting some pussy low key. You feel me? We're not gonna be around them for like. People always ask me, could I be with a religious woman? I said, I don't know. I used to say no. As I'm getting older, I'm getting more mature. I'm learning that I can, because it's like that shit ain't got shit to do with me no more. Like that's how you choose. That's your spiritual system. Whether I feel like it works for you or not, that's not on me. That's not on me to decide. You feel me? But what is on me to decide is to be there for you if you decide you want to tap into my spiritual system, and I can show you how to, you got to use it from this perspective though, baby girl, because this is what it is. I'm not going to shit on what you grew up in, because I grew up in the shit too. But at the same time, I had to realize that this is limited to what we actually know about it. You feel me? But at the same time, it's like, it's hard because your spiritual system is supposed to take your mind to the level of understanding. Most religions keep you in belief. If you read So Frail 3, you already know where I'm going with the mind. Like, it's no. That's why it blows my mind how we can stay stuck in certain shit. And now keep this. As men, our spiritual systems is largely what we follow with the women. It's like the women that we fucking don't really have a grip on a spiritual system. Think about it. It's like, well, I'm religious, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. Like, I still believe in God, but I don't go to church. Who said you had to go to church to believe in God? Like, you believe in God. Like, wow, I understand what God is. This is gonna be different. It's gonna be different. You still think it's a man. You're gonna be shocked when you learn the stars, the universe, and all this other shit. Like, that's why I be having conversations with religious people. They be like, I'm like, universe, and they be like, you mean God? Nah, nigga, I said what I said. The universe ain't God, bruh. Sis, all y'all might want to chill with that shit. I'm telling you, like, because when I actually can break it down and show you that God is the universe, what are you gonna say then? Well, I'm still going for, yeah. See, now that right there becomes stupidity. It's one thing to be ignorant. I'm never against ignorant people, because ignorance is not a bad thing. You literally are not exposed to something. That's what. But the moment you become exposed to something and you continue to exhibit, you're stupid at that point. I have no sympathy for that. I have no sympathy for stupidity. Like when I tell people, oh, y'all ain't going to heaven because y'all still call the nigga Jesus. What you mean? They could call him Jesus. That's it. No, it's not. If the Bible says you deny me in front of man, I'm gonna deny you in front of my Father, and you not calling me my name, nigga, you denying me, homie. You denying me, homie. And they don't like that when I talk that shit. But I gotta talk that shit, because when it's all said and done, man, we gotta have our own spiritual practice. And that's we need our own spiritual system according to how masculinity works. If it's not teaching you, or it's not making you develop your ability to analyze and deconstruct the world, it's not helping you. Just like women, if it ain't enhancing your ability to synthesize and construct your world, it damn sure ain't helping you. I don't give a fuck how many times you want to post and talk about, I'm a Proverbs 31 woman. You ain't doing nothing Proverbs 31 Lee. The fuck? And even still, that's a different conversation. But all of this shit is about the wrong shit. You feel me? Studying deeply. really, as my brothers, like, this is for y'all. Like, y'all have to get your spiritual system right. I, like I said, I fucks with my eyes. I fucks with my eye on the grounds of the 42 tenets of my eye, saying I. Everything says I. What I have not done, what I will not do, what I have not done, what I will not do, what I will do, what I have done. And it's all these things. It's like, if you can check these off, it's like, damn, this is all about accountability, bruh. Now, how do I bring this? How do I take this accountability into my spiritual system, which is about bringing the balance into myself? And as a man, because I am masculine in nature, masculine is feminine, is analysis of deconstruction. Now I have to meditate to get this. I'm not saying you don't have to pray. You pray to send it up. My brothers, you probably talk to yourself on a regular basis. On a basis, that's prayer. You ever been talking to yourself about some shit, and then one day you just decided to chill, you got quiet, and just sat, and then it came to you. Whatever you spoke about, you actually intentionally spoke it. And you just sat for a minute, and then somehow it's like a whisper. It just came into your thought process. Boom. And you was like, oh shit. Call them epiphanies. It's not an epiphany. It's not an epiphany. You spoke it and it came back to you. It's a reverberation. That's what meditation is. You don't necessarily have to sit Indian style and go home. Don't. After you pray, you meditate and you let it come to you. And it can happen a lot faster. But when you don't have that spiritual system, it's going to come when it can come. You feel me? If you can only catch spiritual conversations or get spiritual thoughts when you watching YouTube and you see this particular thing, it'll come to you then. You like, oh shit. Like I'm telling y'all, when I broke that barrier on what I can limit myself, I can get messages from battle rap. I can get messages from homeless people. I can get messages from anything, anybody, anywhere. Even in the moment, I could be looking at a motherfucker and their hair could be a certain way. I'm like, bruh, I remember. Like, you feel what I'm saying? It's like, damn. Because that spiritual system is designed to get you to a point where you can see all things. People think seeing all things is like, to be omnipotent is not hard to do. And it's not limited to deities, but deities are the highest form of the mind. When you have elevated your mind to this, you can see all things. Seeing all things means that no matter what it is, you can see whatever you're supposed to see in it. Anything can be your mirror. That's why in the Bible it say, where 2 or 3 come together in my name, I will be there, because you're looking at itself. Yes, that was said right. It wasn't grammatically incorrect. You're looking at itself. When God is interfacing with itself, when Allah is interfacing with itself, when the source is interfacing with itself, it is 2 humans coming together to talk about whatever. And when you talk about the same thing, the God consciousness is there. But do you have enough freedom within your spiritual system to be able to get this conversation? This is why people be like, yo, I don't like the messenger or the message. I don't like this and that. You miss out on a lot of things that you can't get solely. There's motherfucking gems I have dropped all across the world. Some motherfuckers will not get my gems simply because they say he cusses too much. Cool. You can't get shit out of profanity. Okay. I'm not mad at it. But I codified it like that for a reason. Because only the people who can listen to profanity are the people who can catch the profanity. You feel me? This is one of the reasons why the world works the way it works. Because you have so many motherfuckers in a space where they're trying to be profound in a world of profanity. Sex literally sells. They are literally teaching little kids. They're having transgender men who are pedophiles and sexual offenders reading books to children. That's profanity. You think I'm not going to match that fucking energy to teach some shit? The fuck kind of shit is that? Why try to reinvent the wheel? This is the way the wheel is already running. Let me put some different rims on that bitch. I already know y'all like this type of shit. I already know this is the shit y'all gonna listen to. Why? Because what are your music palettes listen to? Shoot a nigga with the pop, skirt, like all of this other goofy shit. All it is profanity. But I stepped into a world that profanity isn't supposed to be in, which is profundity. I'm very profound in my shit. But at the same time, I learned the only way to get it to the right people is to put it in a way that the right people can hear it. The people that say they can't hear it and shit, they're very limited in scope. They'll miss a lot of shit. they're going to miss a lot of shit. I'll say this and I wrap it up. So Frail isn't designed for all men. I market it, I sell it to men, but it's not designed for all men. It's designed for a specific type of man who can see. Because if you cannot face the title of a book, how the fuck are you going to face yourself? So Frail of reality, but oh man, my masculinity in check. Boop, you're lying, but hey, go on about your business. This ain't for you. Niggas tell me, hey, see, you trying to sell to motherfuckers who don't read. No, I'm not. I'm selling this shit to motherfuckers who do read. That's why they're buying it. But I'm not selling it to the people who cannot see. It's not for you. It's not for you, buddy. And then in addition to that, because of what it is, all of the women are reading it. So Frail, you talking about masculinity? I gotta read this shit. Yup. Now you just unlocked a whole bunch of shit so you can give it to your sons. Check and checkmate. I win. But I had to reach my spiritual maturity through my masculine lens to be able to do this properly. This is something that they don't teach us as men, how to tap in to our spiritual connection, because we're doing it from a lens that is not masculine. That's why I tell people there's no masculinity in this world, because the spiritual component wouldn't be what it is right now. For men, come on, man. It's different. We different. And I recommend those things to, get your shit right. You feel me? Study astrology. Study numerology. Study esoteric science, esoteric math. Study the metaphysical sciences. Study the science of science. Study science in science. Study all of it. All of it. Anything that's in metaphysics. Anything that has a point of being in the elevate. Even religion. Study that shit. Study it all. You feel me? But then understand what your spiritual system is, and understand that it's about bringing you balance. Is about your spiritual system as a man is about bringing balance to your being through the lens of analysis and deconstruction. That's it. It's not hard. You can't do it through synthesis and construction because you're not a woman. It's crazy. That's why they don't want you to. It's crazy how they're doing all of this gender fluidity and genders aren't real and men, what's a gender construct? Right at the time of the Aquarian age, when who was supposed to wake up? The masculine energy. The age of Pisces was feminine. That was the age of belief. The age of knowledge was the Aquarian age, is the age of the masculine. Masculine was coming back. They knew what was up. So what did they do? Created the vaccines, the shots, and all this other shit to make us sedate ourselves. A lot of us are sedated and we can't tap in. Gave us religion and everything. Like they knew, when this shit happened, bro, the Aquarian age is going to be crazy. But we got to make sure these motherfuckers don't know how to use their spiritual system as masculine men, because that's who's supposed to run the world right now. Masculinity. It's back. It's here. It's sparked up. And now it's alive and well. Now we got to tap in. And we got to stop bullshitting with it. But I'm going to go ahead and end it there because this is long as fuck. And I got shit to do for real. I didn't anticipate it going this long. But yeah, go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. They're vegetables. And our sons, now's the time. Start teaching them the spiritual system. Start teaching them spiritual systems through analysis and deconstruction. But you first got to know how to teach them analysis and deconstruction. The blueprint is laid out in So Frail. The whole thing. There's nothing else that I can give you on how to do it. Right? You have to be able to structure your son to be an analyzer and deconstructor, and then allow his spiritual system to tap into that. I'm not saying he got to learn astrology. I'm not saying he got to learn all these esoteric, because you got to learn them too to make sure your baby can. But I'm going to keep it 100 with you. Our babies are already open for it. They already use it. How the fuck you think a baby learn how to walk? How you think a baby learn how to talk? How you think a baby learn how to play his instruments and all these things? Like when these things, like they're tapped in, and then they start to deviate. You see little girls start to do the more constructing and synthesizing thing. Then you start to see the boys do more analyzing and this is why they're destabilizing shit. You feel me? Think about a tool set. Think about what we used to get babies. You know what I'm saying? We get the girls the cooking set. That's synthesis and construction. Cooking a meal? You literally take all of the ingredients, the raw materials, and you make a meal. Synthesis and construction. What we get the boys? We get them a toolkit, a tool set. Feel me? A little tool bench. Analysis and deconstruction. You got the saws and everything like that. The fuck? He builds some shit. He constructs something. You feel me? It's construction, but he has to deconstruct first. And these are all his deconstructing tools. He has a little screwdriver, hammer, saw. Feel me? Because it's finite. Cooking a meal is infinite. They already knew ahead of time, but now they're trying to stop it. Why? Keep up, y'all. Come on, pay the fuck attention. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And I'm going to see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.